Hello there, my SDL compatriots. Your little cog champ Gearchief here, along with who's that on desk? Is that iNooblet? How you doing, noob?
Tis I, Gearchief, and I'm excited to be here and watch these divine finals. Best of 5. It's been a long time coming here in season 3, and Eclipse versus Kingslayers, man. I don't know what's gonna happen, but it's gonna be exciting.
Your long-awaited, highly anticipated divine finals. I gotta say, I'm really excited because I got some dogs in this race. I got some people I know who I just want to see succeed, and the issue with that is they're on different teams.
Yeah.
First, we got Kingslayers, who's been completely dominant. I believe they haven't lost a game at all, have they?
Not a single game. And we're not even talking sets. Just they have never lost, period. Which is impressive, but also kind of scary because if they do lose, the question is, do they know how to deal with that loss?
It's definitely a daunting task for both teams. You got the high pressure of making sure that Kingslayers keep that reputation, or now you got to defeat a juggernaut, right? So it's definitely there's mentals on each side. It's just based on how each team can handle it. Will Eclipse be able to just be the David and this Goliath scenario, or can Kingslayers just hold on to what they know? And maybe if they do take their first loss, can they just kind of brush it off and understanding that they can't sit there and wait on it too long? But I mean, Nicodrin, Wyvern, and Ragemore is going to make it definitely difficult.
Yep, and it looks like we're getting to pick some bans here. So, based off these teams and based off the meta, what do you expect to see top prioritized ban and pick wise?
I, I gotta say it's hard because I think between a lot of these leagues, a lot of these different tiers, we've seen some different characters prioritized, but I think Eclipse really has to make sure they ban out that set. Or no, my bad. Kingslayer's ban. I said no. Kingslayer's ban out set. I'm sorry. Kingslayer's is icon set, but Nene went crazy with a Penton set, so that's where I got confused. But I think you really need to respect Nene's set because if you don't, you might just end up losing to your own kind of icon character.
Yeah, and it's always a fine balance of banning meta gods and then banning for sure comfort gods of your enemy, knowing that they're going to play it. But if you ban their comfort, are they comfortable on the meta, and is that going to be an issue? And then you look over at Wyvern on the Kingslayers, who has just been an unstoppable
Absolutely.
force in the jungle. And you can't really ban him. We saw him play Morgan Le Fay jungle and drop 20 plus kills on it. It was ridiculous. So, how does Eclipse come in knowing Wyvern is a tough test to deal with? How do you ban him out, if anything?
I think the big issue is you got to kind of have you're not playing against a god at that point. You got to understand, okay, maybe we can take one of his comfort picks, the one thing that we know we can't deal with, but you got to play the person. You got to make a plan against the person versus say a god that he's going to pick because with someone as dominant as Wyvern,
I will leave
you either
standing
got to
no
decide, all right,
barrier
we
to
know how he
our
plays, we got
success.
to watch how he plays, and this is how we're going to stop it, or just set up Nene as best as you can to allow him to just kind of outshine Wyvern in any scenario, and kind of hope that maybe Wyvern
No
gets
mercy!
put down a little bit and then panics, but I don't think that's the case at all, and it's just, I don't think you can focus too much on target bans because you can always plan for meta, right? Um, and I think it's just gonna be difficult, and it's a win lose really because you can plan for meta. Meta's easy if you know what god's meta. You can plan to deal with them in some way because you understand how essentially that god's played. But if you're gonna sit there and target ban, that kind of stops their comfort pick, like you were
Face
saying,
the
where
crushing
they might know the ins and
suns!
outs of that character more than usual. But we do see the set for Eclipse, and I wonder if Kingslayers are gonna regret letting that through.
Yeah, that's tough. Right away, we saw the supports prioritized, and that's how this meta has sort of been. You get your Athenas, your Ganesh, your Ares have been top pick, top ban for a long time, so those two locked in right away. Hades, assuming going over to the solo lane, probably a bit of a comfort pick. We don't see him too often, but it's still definitely very strong. And then that YeetonDaNaeNae set coming through. Love to see that here in the finals. Put yourself on something you know works and run it down first game. I love to see that.
And I think you always need to open strong. So, because when you're in this situation, you're stuck
Get to the
between do
Jaka!
we use it now and kind of just run with it, or do we hide it in the back and use it when we really need it? But I think if you're Eclipse fighting the undefeated Kingslayers, you gotta come out all all pistons firing, and you just gotta run with it. You gotta take your best that you can and
Time
see if you
to
can destabilize
burn.
them. Because if you're trying to wait to use a secret weapon when you're 2 games down in this best of 5, then it might just be too late. Because you might get that one game, but then they'll ban that out, and then you don't have time to adjust. So right now, let's say Eclipse wins the first game, right? Throws Kingslayers off. Kingslayers adjust to set, and now they win the next game because they ban them out or they figure out how to deal with them. Well, now Eclipse has at least another game to adjust because of Kingslayer, or even 2 games really, to adjust and figure out how they can do it. That's that third game that the Kingslayers might take away. He was gonna have to learn on the fly, but at least they'll have more time to adjust. If they try to hide it in the back and they use it when they need it on the last game possible, they're not. They'll have the win, but now you need to win 2 more times, and Kingslayers might just be able to completely beat you out at that point. So I think opening fast and powerful is exactly how Eclipse needs to do it and show Kingslayers why Nene should be feared on that set.
We see the drafts running out on the top half of picks. We got Chalk locked in. We don't see him too often, but when we have seen him, he has performed well. And then we're going to have DLC Dragonlordcat on the Agni, and he definitely plays a really good Agni. He's a pretty versatile player. I know he does like to log in his Agni when he likes some W's, so I'm excited to see that run. Agni is a little tough into someone like a Ganesh and a Set who can chase you down, but if anybody can pull this off, it's going to be DLC, and he usually has a lot of help from his front line.
And also, Agni is very safe, right? You get that stun that you can dash out of, you can stun from a distance. So I think Agni's always a good god to open up with if you're trying to learn a team because he's just so. The only person he's second to when it comes to kind of peeling for himself is probably Morgan Le Fay. She's got that knock
Right.
up, knock back, the Witchfire to stop you from pursuing her. You take more damage, and then she got the fear. But Agni does have his dash to at least create space, and then a big stun. The
You
Chalk,
are
though, I want
not
to talk a
yet
little bit about
ready
because
to become the
Chalk,
Jade
I'm a little
Emperor.
nervous for because where Eclipse needs to be kind of firing on all cylinders, Chalk is one of those gods that you kind of use when you don't want to lose lane. So I'm expecting Casual to kind of pick this character and just
Look
try to let
into
Nene
my
run
eyes.
and not be a detriment, but at the same time, you kind of want a god who can double down on that, especially when your jungle's the one that you're expecting to kind of hyper carry. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Casual can really maneuver this chalk around to make sure it's not just a matter of I'm playing not to lose versus I'm playing to win.
Now we see the team comps rounded completely out. Medusa going the way of Eclipse here, which I think is kind of funny because Rage more known for playing some off meta this season, and he's played a lot of Medusa, and no one really else has. And now a cookie named Joe taking the Medusa. Rage more had already locked in Rama, so it could win anywhere, but it goes Medusa. I kind of like that flex. Yu Huang, very safe god, can do a lot. I think struggles a little bit in this meta. It just feels a little clunky, but can definitely work. And then we're potentially going to see a Wyvern Loki here. How do you feel about Wyvern on a god like Loki, where he's going to have a presence for sure, but not as much as a big full team fight, take on several people presence?
I think it's all going to be based on how Kingslayers can kind of deal with their stuff. I see a lot of AoE with them between the Hades, the Agni, and the Ares. So maybe their Wyvern's looking more for cleanup or just kind of pick apart the person behind, not really trying to in maybe engage, but not really trying to dive right in. More looking to kind of pick the straggler apart. So maybe Wyvern's gonna be a bit more of a side part to this and kind of let the big circles do all of it, and then maybe come in for cleanup and chase down the people. But I'm kind of interested to see how it works because I think Loki's a very hit or miss character. Sometimes Loki will be completely terrorizing the jungle, and then sometimes you just kind of fall short. You're just not doing the damage you want, or you're just getting juggled around, and there's no real way to do it. You got to use your ult to disengage, and then all of a sudden, your big ticket ability is now kind of on cooldown, and you can't really do much for your team. So I think it's gonna be very tight. It's gonna be a tight one with Nene on such a solid character that for them versus Wyvern, who on Loki can either just completely run away with the game and be a complete menace, or might just get picked apart. And I think Jungle will probably decide this.
I agree with you completely. And regardless, 10 very talented players starting this set out best of 5 here in the Divine Division. And it looks like the game's ready. So we're going to toss it all over into game, and we will see you there to get this championship started.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the start of Divine Finals. I'm your little cog champ, Gearchief, along with Nooblet, and this is going to be one interesting set, and I am excited. How you doing, Nooblet?
I'm doing so good. Been waiting for this for a long time. Been waiting. I love watching the Kingslayers every week, but I've also just been secretly waiting for a team to step up and take them down. And looking at the team comps, I think it's fairly even, maybe a little bit in favor of Kingslayers if I had to, just based off the gods and who they're going to. But regardless, I can't predict what the outcome's going to be, and I hope Eclipse really take it to Kingslayers here like I know they can.
So we were talking about a bit of team comp earlier, and kind of how we see Kingslayers has those big AoEs, and Eclipse, what do you think that they're going for? What do you think based on their team comp they're looking for?
It looks like a mix of comfort and then just area damage. I think they really want to use their team chemistry to win these fights. There's a lot of single action type stuff on Kingslayers. People going in, Agni can target multiple people, but is more so going to focus on CCing one, whereas Rama, kind of same, got to burn through one person at a time. Keep your eye on YeetonDaNaeNae as he's sneaking over here, but everything on Eclipse is just designed to spread out in a team fight and hit multiple people and rely on their chemistry, and I think that's playing to their strengths here.
Yeet's looking in, but gets chained, can't really teleport away. Level 3, but can't really take that to his own advantage, forcing Riz to be alone in the mid lane, and kind of had to force to back off. Not looking like Eclipse is going to get much out of this early gank to the dual lane, but here we go. Fire, flames, and a chain, forcing Yeet off that shield buff, and you gotta force him completely away, now leaving the rest of his team to try to fight for that, and Kingslayer just has great kind of advantage for that shield buff, but looks like both teams are gonna back away. Nothing really won over there, and it might have been a bit of a loss for Yeet to just kind of appear there.
It's kind of tough to get something going real early on with set, but it doesn't hurt to get the presence in there. JunglePhobic playing super aggressive on this areas you love to see, and DLC very low.
Oh no! DLC falls down to Riz for the first blood.
Wow.
And that was a great turnaround. We saw that Yu Hong stuck under tower in the face of a Loki and the Agni, but manages to completely turn it around and get that first blood. And I'm going to see that mid lane's probably going to be pretty interesting coming up.
Yeah, I love to see that, because I was just about to say my big question mark of this match is Rizzler on the Yu Huang. Typically seeing him on something very bursty like the Poseidon. Yu Huang just doesn't have that really 100-0 ability.
I couldn't agree more.
He pokes out, but he took full advantage because Agni is a really good god, but Agni level 3 and level 4 is so tough to play safe and clear on and get poked. Until you get those bombs online and a little bit of cooldown, it's just so tough. But now, so he took advantage, got first blood, get Rizzler ahead. But now that Agni is going to tick over to 5, I expect DLC to probably get the pressure back.
And for the mid lane, Yu Huang's great for early lane phase because that line reaches pretty far and the autos chain when his passive is stacked up. So it's very good early, especially with Agni, needs to be pretty close. But when it gets to late game, it just kind of feels that they struggle to do anything big. Ares pull, we got the first beads. Shell popped, but he manages to dash away. Loyalty manages to stop Kingslayers from getting this this return kill for their first blood. And it's looking pretty strong for Kingslayers in this dual lane. And it seems like Eclipse, despite the first blood, are actually down in gold. And not looking too good. We got a chain moving in. Fire and flames stuck, using the shield to try to block everything. dash, but here Rama in the air looking for the snipes, but it's not looking good. A blink, and there it is. But Ragemore does get the kill on Loyal, and then Ragemore finishes it up on CookieNamedJoe. Double kill, and a perfect appearance from Wyvern to really cause that pressure. DLC's looking in, but then get killed by Rizzler. That was unfortunate. Beautiful beads by Rizzler to at least get a return elimination to make it 2-2, but it still seems like it's at a loss for Eclipse with that dual lane now getting even more pressure.
Yeah, really well played by Kingslayers there. It all started with a really good JunglePhobic ult. It might have seemed like it was just a nonsensical Ares ult, but it was perfect because he ulted while CookieNamedJoe was level 4, so CookieNamedJoe had no choice but to use beads. If he's level 5 there, he can trade his ult for Ares ult instead. And then a great rotation over from Wyvern, and everybody there was like 2 HP on Kingslayers, all 3 of them. So if YeetonDaNaeNae was anywhere in the area, that's an easy triple kill for him, and he wouldn't drop something like that. So just real heads up on the positioning, and DLC playing a little over aggressive in the mid lane. I don't mind it. I've laned against DLC. I know how aggressive that mid lane was between us. I want to see that type of play out of an Agni. And he went for Book of Thoth start, so he's not going to have a really early power spike like you would like to on Agni, but come mid to late game, those aggressive plays are definitely going to work out.
Definitely seems like DLC has got something to prove in that mid lane, trying to gain some honor back from that first blood. Being a bit too aggressive did cost him his life, but with someone like Wyvern, it might just be pretty easy to kind of maintain control or get it back in that mid lane. But like we said, Yu Hong's definitely going to make it difficult to really fight early. But his ult's now really charging. We should see that DLC is probably going to have an easier time clearing lane.
And here's the thing, Agni from behind a little bit doesn't matter that much. Once your front line's online, once Wyvern's doing his thing, you can just sit back and just rain fire on everybody. It doesn't matter if you're level behind. The bigger story is Rama being ahead now. He's up in XP. He has 2 kills right off the bat. A Rama ahead is much more difficult to deal with than a Yu Huang ahead. So I like that they traded that pressure over the dual lane, got Ragemore up, and now I think it's just going to be the Ragemore show over there in dual lane unless YeetonDaNaeNae comes over and helps alleviate some of that. But look, Wyvern's here too. It's good rotations.
Wyvern's here, he ults in, but the beads from Joe are back up just in time. And now he's brought over his compatriot, his rival, Nene's here, looking to get on Ragemore up in the air. Astro Barrage trying to look to get some poke, but dropping down in the same spot between two. Rage is so low, but Nae is chained and cannot get away. JunglePhobic might fall for trying to make sure his jungler and his ADC get out alive, but a nice shell and the fortifier gonna get him away. DLC appearing just in time to allow the support who overstepped his welcome to do something, but now it looks like DLC might have overstepped their welcome, dashing out of the silence just in time, but Dueling Dragons brings JunglePhobic back in. Not a shell or fortify might be able to save him. He manages to just get out of there. What was that? Did he go through a wall? Nicodrin does solo TheCasualOne. How? What happened there?
That is so criminal that Kingslayers don't die at all there. There was 4 or 5 opportunities where they're dead to rights and they live. Just great teamwork and just getting everybody out. We saw a solo kill over there in solo lane. I don't know if Wyvern assisted there, but heads up play. And speaking to the wall, that's just a UI bug. That wall is like it was last split. So you can walk through that, but it's not on the player's screen. But look, Ragemore is still here, even though he's very low. And you would think with the ability of Set that you could chase him down, but then JunglePhobic says, I'll trade my life out for yours, steps up, gets the chains off so they can't chase, and ends up somehow living 2, which is crazy. One thing I do want to point out is that Wyvern couldn't do a lot there as he's going in on Rizzler, who gets out. He couldn't do a lot. He used his kit, and then all he could pretty much do was sit and watch, which is why I don't necessarily like the low-key pick, but you can't doubt Wyvern. It's not like MLF where you can just be in the fight the whole time and keep fighting. He's like, I used everything. It's up to you boys to get out now. I can't really do much.
With the invisibility more being to engage or retreat, there's not really anything you can do with that besides give up the invisibility with a boosted auto, but then at that point you're just kind of a sitting duck, especially with the ult down. But I want to talk about the fortify ability for Ares that I'm guessing 120% carried him
Had
to like
been.
life, because there's no way he had like no health, and he was getting ticked maybe from the dueling dragons or whatever lit him on fire from Rizzler, and that was amazing how he got out of there. I he's definitely like quaking at least, or but probably walking out of the fire and flames burnt just with underwear on, be like, no, I'm fine. I knew it. It was calculated.
Yeah, not even close, boys. Is what he's saying, is he's walking away. 3K gold lead here and a 1400 XP lead. It's a good start, Kingslayers, in these finals. But yeah, it's a sneaky ability that people kind of sleep on with Ares. It provides a lot for you and your team, and I think it not recently, but got some love over the last few months.
Couple patches.
Yeah, so it does do well, and now NicoDraN has committed ult onto the casual one who returned it, and the boys are here to fight.
Oh, it's 4 on top. Nico's now stuck using the dash. Dueling Dragons does miss, but the whole team's on top of him. Yeet does pick up the kill on Nico, making it 3-3, but Kingslayers are up about 3k gold and probably a little extra experience, looking to extend that gold lead, going for Gold Fury. Ragemore tanking, Wyvern trying to keep out Joe, who's going to decide to step up into this half health and just getting these assassination hits. Looking for the ultimate, but misses Wyvern, and now it's just an easy pick. Kingslayers do get the Gold Fury now. CookieNamedJoe is being attacked by 4, does fall. Yeet gets the return onto DLC, and now Rage War is looking pretty low. Casual looking to put him to sleep, but it's going to be YeetonDaNaeNae reading him the bedtime story now. JunglePhobic is now looking at 4. Doesn't look like the Fortify is going to do you much, but maybe the protection of the tower. Loyalty's taking some big damage, but the rest of Eclipse is going to decide not to pursue. Loyalty taking some big hits from that flamethrower and going to push him away. I gotta say, that is surprising that JunglePhobic gets away. There was 4 of them there. But you know what? I think it'd probably be smarter for them not to do it and just kind of realize that, hey, we don't really get anything of this. This is the support. And if we're going to do anything, we should get a tower. And since they weren't committing to the tower, I got to say it was pretty smart not to really dedicate too much to it, you know? Best to kind of like, all right, let's go get our farm. Let's go somewhere else. Let's go do something rather than try to kill the support who is pretty full health.
It was a big call to rotate over there to solo lane and kill NicoDraN. He already has tower down for the Kingslayer, so he has a lot of pressure. It was a good kill, but you know when you rotate 3 to 4 people over there, the call is Gold Fury. At least it should be. You should be going there because all that's left to challenge you is one person. So you trade your solo laner for gold. Just a good rotation back from Eclipse to clean up after that. You know, they had real no hope taking that Gold Fury. I think maybe CookieNamedJoe stayed a little bit too long. Just really wanted to see if they could contest, but a good cleanup to even it back a little bit after the trade.
I believed in Cookie. I thought maybe he'll be able to turn it around, but Wyvern just kind of pushed him away, and I think as soon as Wyvern kind of stepped up to him and he was about 2/3, maybe 3/4 health, Cookie should have realized, hey, I don't think it's going to be a good idea to kind of step up to this Gold Fury without my team immediately here. So I can understand, because you always want to make that play, right? Because sometimes it's better to try to make it and die versus not do it at all and let them take the lead. But I just don't think that was the call here. CasualOne being forced to use his ultimate, but can't get away from Wyvern, who does follow up and gets the stun. But now Rizzler, NaeNae are here. Rizzler does put down Wyvern. NicoDraN is now without an ult and out of dash, and it looks like out of luck. Beads maybe not, but he does fall to Yeet, and now DLC just ends up being completely consumed by the dragons. Rizzler does get that. And now it looks like they're losing a T2 though. It was a good support there, but it just looks like Kingslayers has the kill-wise Eclipse is the lead, but Kingslayers kind of has this game.
And they saved the T2 is actually really good because that definitely is not worth. Although you get 3 strong kills from the Eclipse, you also traded out 2 people. You traded out CasualOne, you traded out CookieNamedJoe, and then you almost traded out a T2, which is a lot of gold. So it definitely would have tipped in the favor of Kingslayers if they get that T2. But just the sheer domination in that fight, once YeetonDaNaeNae comes in and how aggressive Rizzler's playing this Yu Huang, the up downs, which people generally don't do. They use it to escape, but it's so good to go in with. It just looks really strong, and I expect that's going to continue. Now, YeetonDaNaeNae is 4-0-2 and up a level on Wyvern, is having much more impact in these fights. This is what we needed from Eclipse, so man, they are not letting CookieNamedJoe do anything.
a bit too far up when you have essentially only your Phoenix there. DaNaeNae, we're gonna see the Medusa's gaze, but that was pulled out and we saw that the beads were used. CookieNamedJoe is just gone. There was nothing more you could do or nothing you could hope for. And I gotta say, I think it was definitely a bit too far up. With the T2 as weak as it was, you kind of can't really be caught directly in the middle of the entire lane like that. That's just asking to get picked apart. And both JunglePhobic and Wyvern did an amazing job making sure they can get the beads, the ultimate out of him, and just completely put him on an execution platter.
Yeah, it's tough. A little catch-22 where you're behind in level, so you need farm, but your wave's pushed up to an unsafe area, so you have to go to it, but you know that you're in danger of doing. Look at the ward coverage from Kingslayers. They have 3 to 4 wards out right next to a CookieNamedJoe, and Eclipse doesn't have hardly any, so Kingslayers is going to know at all times. Pyromancer also going the way of Kingslayers, but they're always going to know where CookieNamedJoe is, and he's never going to know where they are, and that's just a bad spot to be in for him.
And what hurts the most is that you see all these wards in pocket for Eclipse, so you know they could be there. And as we say it, we do see more in that jungle. CookieNamedJoe definitely learned their lesson with that, but it seemed like to be up that far, you just kind of were asking without wards. You were asking for it. I understand the plight, but if you're gonna do that, you need the wards to be able to justify why you're up there to kind of protect you. Big team fight. We do see the pillars. Ragemore gets stuck, forced to use the beads in the back dodge, but no one else is gonna really pursue. Rizzler just pushing off the rest of Kingslayers, and it looks like everyone's gonna drop it. A couple ultimates were used, but nothing really comes out of it. Primal Fury being looked at by Eclipse. Kingslayers being buzzards hovering around, trying to find a perfect opportunity. It's going to be dropped. JunglePhobic out, pulled back in, knocked up, silenced, and goodbye. Rizzler gets a kill onto JunglePhobic. Up in the air is Ragemore looking for a nice little snipe, but it looks like Naenae's going to find him, and his story might just be over. 1 health goes to 0. Ragemore falls to YeetonDaNaeNae. Rizzler looking to try to find DLC. TheCasualOne trying to help out his teammate, but Naenae does fall to Wyvern. Nicodrin picking up TheCasualOne, and now Eclipse looks like they're not going to be able to get out of this easy enough. Nico making it a double, and now Loyalty's kind of caught. Rizzler falls down to DLC, and this just turns bad. Stunned out. Loyalty's now looking around. The buzzards find their kill. Wyvern drops Loyalty, and now this Primal Fury is completely free. Unfortunately, Eclipse just stepped up too far and just couldn't really allocate the damage in the right spots.
Yeah, honestly, as Primal Fury goes down to Kingslayers here, it was really good, smooth fighting from both teams there. Great engagement and use of abilities, comboing CC from Eclipse. I mean, Rizzler's playing this Xu Huang at a level I've yet to see anybody play Xu Huang. Playing it so well. I think where things started to fall apart was the members of Eclipse got separated. Wyvern went in on CookieNamedJoe. Not a lot he can do in the 1v1 there. Wyvern's playing this Loki so clean with his ult to chase down and negate CC that the best thing you can do there as the carry is to go back into your team and hope that the team combined can either help you or at least trade out Wyvern once you die. He tried to just get out of there and escape, and unfortunately Wyvern could chase him down, and it just started toppling from there. But the Rizzler ult, the Dueling Dragons into the Chalk ult, it was just so good and so clean. And honestly, any of these fights could be going the opposite way. They start good for one team, they go better for the other team. 10 high caliber players, and I can't imagine what the next 10-15 minutes of this game are going to look like.
I think it should be a matter of making sure you call targets out, because I think the biggest problem that Eclipse kind of suffered there was some people split off in a Ragemore and some people split off onto DLC, and Kingslayers, despite losing Ragemore, were able to kind of pick that apart and start from one spot and then kind of read their way through Eclipse as they're a bit broken up. We saw Naenae kind of get pushed away and then picking up by Wyvern, and I think if Eclipse can kind of call out targets and attack as a team, then they might actually get a game off the Kingslayers. Heck, they might even get the entire set. But Kingslayers are not making it easy. Up about 8k gold with only 2 kills, 10 to 12, Eclipse 10, Kingslayers 12. So it's definitely an even game, but Kingslayers have had a steady lead with a lot of objectives going their way. I think about all the objectives have gone the way for Kingslayers.
Yeah, and I think the score line, the kill deaths kind of speak to it. Right now, all 10 kills are on the jungle and mid laner for Eclipse, and they're talented
Mm-hmm.
players, and they are doing their very best. And in fact, they have the exact same score line, but then the rest of the kills, which are 12, and only 2 more, are completely spread out across the whole team of Kingslayers. They're just doing a better job as a team to facilitate these fights. And TheCasualOne's holding in there, has 5 assists, been a part of half the kills, which is pretty impressive for being over in the solo lane, and we're just now hitting mid game. But I think they really need to come together as a team, figure out how to get ACookieNamedJoe into these fights more so and survive a little more, and then I think all the fights will start going Eclipse wave. It's just not on the shoulders of Yeet and Rizzler.
Pyromancer being looked at. Both teams are surrounding it, hovering like buzzards. No ADCs yet, but here comes Ragemore in the middle lane, linking up with JunglePhobic. ACookieNamedJoe is just not there yet, on his way. And it looks like Kingslayers are pushing out Eclipse. And it doesn't look very... Eclipse is just trying to find the best way they can to retaliate. No idea where Wyvern is, but both teams are actually going to decide to back off and farm, which I think is a good idea. There's only so much you can do. And we do see Eclipse does have considerable wards in the area, so, or at least wards on Pyromancer, so at least they'll know if it's started. But again, in that Pyromancer area, look at all those red wards right near Fire Giant, right near the blue pit between the XP pit and Pyromancer. Kingslayers are just warded up that entire area, and you can kind of see why they have that lead that they do. One thing I wanted to talk about though was some of these builds, because I'm looking at mostly TheCasualOne.
Ganesh getting that absolution second item. Let's see if he uses it here. Oh, that would have been a perfect time to use it.
Dash is gone, and so is everything else. Can the bead save him? He does get the bead. He does get the cleanse from his ultimate, but it's not enough. Nicodrin does take him out of this world. Nicodrin with a double kill, guiding people to Hades themselves, and it looks like 2 kills will go the way of Kingslayers. And now this Pyromancer is pretty free. Not much Eclipse can truly do. Nico being a bit low, but the rest of his team to kind of protect him. Casual looking to try to steal something with a blink, the ultimate, but it's not enough, and now he's stuck in a tight spot. Getting stunned. There goes the shield from Pridwin. TheCasualOne's just trying to walk away, gets silenced and feared and killed. Wyvern dropping him down. Brave play, my friend, but it was not enough. Cookie dashes, but so does Ragemore, and it does look like Ragemore is going to retreat off of that, not seeing too much in that fight. But
yeah, like looks like we'll have a little time to look at the builds, and I guess we'll talk about the Absolution, since it was it had its place right there. At first I was going, I don't know about Absolution's second item. It is nice on Ganesh because you instantly pop your ult, so you can almost on demand use that cleanse, but that would have been the time to use it right there as we were looking at it. Use it for the Ares pull. You don't have beads. You gotta have a way to not get pulled into the whole team. Seems like maybe just wanted to save it so you can get like a big absolution for the team with some Agni bombs, things like that. But I think they're gonna have to use that a little bit better. And then looking at ACookieNamedJoe, it's a pretty meta build. He's going with the Fail Not, the Devo gloves. I'm just gonna say though, I'm a big believer in building Medusa much more geared towards ability base, as Wyvern's sneaking up on a cookie here. Almost like Chiron, like you build a little attack speed, maybe Crusher, maybe Dominance, and then you build some ability base, and Medusa just hits so hard, very heavily ability based in her kit. But hey, you can play it either way, and as long as ACookieNamedJoe catches up here, I think we'll see that build come to fruition. Low for Life just took a huge chunk from Wyvern with one swipe.
Not looking too good. Wyvern gets back in it, gets some big backstabs, forcing away Rizzler. He's going to go back in, but bounces out, a bit conflicted on what they're going to do. But the one thing I want to say as Kingslayers is looking for this Gold Fury is going to be uncontested. I gotta agree. Originally, at the start, I saw that ACookieNamedJoe opted for that Death's Toll over Bluestone and was having a tough time clearing against Ragemore. And I was thinking, as I was watching the build unfold, like I would think it'd benefit them a bit more if they had that Crusher, the Bluestone, the tick damage to kind of help them out. Maybe a Heart Seeker, And I didn't know enough about ADCs to really say anything. But when you kind of made that point, it made me think of
It
the
can
same
work.
thing.
It's just how I feel with Medusa's kit is the acid spray, the ult, the laceration when you dash in, you can 0 to 100 someone, and then when you hit the Viper shot, you get that attack speed stem for those 4 shots, and so it feels really good building ability base. But, you know, everybody has their own style of play, and here comes the Ares ult.
It does look like the Absolution is going to come in handy, saving everyone who got pulled. And they're just trying to fight this Titan and the team at the same time. The tower will fall. NicoDrin coming in, looking for a big ultimate, but he's going to get nuked pretty heavily. Finds some health back and does get a double kill. Standing in the Pillar of Agony, looking for the triple. TheCasualOne does fall. What will Nico do? Rizzler, there's a quadra kill. NicoDrin, can you get it? Can you really sink it in? Good looking to engage. Yeet not looking to be a victim of a pentakill themselves, and gonna let time tick away just for safety. Nico getting kinda hungry. I would be too. Titan getting picked up.
Oh,
He
he
trying to do
wants it.
everything they can. Yeah, he wants it so bad. Nico, trust me, I want it for you just as badly. Here comes Yeet, stunned, and what's gonna happen? Gets the kill on NicoDrin. Unfortunate. Dragonlordcat does finish off Yeet. Yeet getting a double kill with the help of the Titan, and able to actually push away what would have been turned into a loss is now turned into a second fighting chance for Eclipse. And I gotta say, Yeet definitely did big things there. Wyvern fell, JunglePhobic fell, Nico fell, and it's just gave his whole team essentially a second chance at life.
NicoDrin just showing why Hades is so strong right now. I said we're not seeing Hades too often, but when we do, it's a stark reminder of how strong Hades can be. And of all 10 gods on this field right now, I would not have guessed right away that Hades was going to be the one getting the quadra kill. Fantastic playing from there, and them running it down with still 2 tier 2s up just shows you that Kingslayers likes their undefeated status, and they want to end this game and move on and be the champions that they feel they deserve to be.
What such a huge game though. What is such a back and forth. I gotta say, for at least game 1 of Divine playoffs, this is honestly amazing, and makes me excited for what's gonna happen in like game 2, game 3, hopefully game 4 and 5. I really want to see these teams kind of duke it out. I want to see Eclipse kind of come back and learn, but I think it's going to be definitely tough. Kingslayers shows why they're undefeated as they spread kills across the board. Each team member is doing their own thing. We've seen Eclipse kind of get picked out a couple of times here and there, but they can always rally and find a way to turn it around to make sure that the day's not completely lost, that the battle might have been lost, but they'll sacrifice for the greater good to make sure the war can be won. So I think Eclipse has the potential, has the foundation, and the tools to do it. I just think they got to find the best way to utilize those tools. And I think my big thing is I think they might need to look towards solo lane a bit more, because if we look at the solo lane with the Chalk, the first thing they got, or at least the first bought, is the Gauntlet of Thebes. And I'm kind of curious how they got that stacked so early, because I definitely saw it stacked a bit early, and kills don't really stack towards that thing, do they?
No, so Gauntlet of Thieves this is in the meta of where that was happening a lot for some reason. You know, I'm not a big fan of it. I can understand its plays, but it feels weird trying to stack that in the solo lane. So we've been seeing it quite a bit on Warriors, at least for about a month or so. And it's not terrible, but you're also going up against a nearly full damage Hades who just got a quadra kill. Now Fire Giant started up by the Kingslayers. Looks like it's going to be uncontested, but taking a look back at season 3 with these guys, Kingslayers have just looked unstoppable every single game. But then when you watch Eclipse, who we're not always seeing play against Kingslayers, they have also looked pretty unstoppable. They've looked like such a powerhouse. And after watching Unstoppable finals not too long ago, I imagine this is going to be a very close battle, and it already has been. If anybody can stop the Kingslayers, it's going to be Divine Eclipse, and now they're pushing into Phoenix.
Oh, NicoDrin's in there looking to get redemption, but TheCasualOne's going to find Ragemore instead, pushing the back of Kingslayers even further, taking away Nico's support so he can't seem to get those kills. Ends up falling to NaeNae. This is not looking good. JunglePhobic's looking the target. Wyvern's caught in the middle, using his disengage and his escape to try to get away. Here comes his invisibility, walks back into the team, trying to find it on Rizzler. What a big auto, does take him down. Dragonlordcat cleans up NaeNae, and now Casual is looking to do some tricksy chalk stuff, but not enough. Gets stunned and put into the ground. Where is Cookie? Here he comes. Can he get any redemption? A bomb gonna pop. Looks like it'll just might be actually destroyed by Cookie beforehand. Cookie does fall to the Phoenix, but it looked like they're gonna kill. Order Phoenix finds it on Jungle and then gets an assist for a cookie named Joe. That Phoenix has put in a lot of work. Doesn't look like it's gonna do. Yeah, Winions all the way, dude. This is not looking too good for Eclipse.
Like I said, dead even game here. Everyone on the field is dead, and Wyvern got a quadra kill there on Loki. They were just pressing the issue, and what looked like was happening was what I wanted to say for Eclipse is almost play. Not necessarily, I'm not calling these players egotistical, but Kingslayers know they're good, and they know they have a strong shot at winning this game. And it was apparent that because Nicodrin kind of just went into the Phoenix haphazardly, and not everybody was ready to go in from Kingslayers, and they got punished for it. But then Eclipse overstepped a little bit. Some great plays from Wyvern, another quadra, second quadra of this first game in this set, and ended up 10 people dead, and nothing happened.
I gotta say, Wyvern did that so smoothly that I didn't even recognize it. I think that's just like a testament to how well he can play. Is just that he just kind of sneaks those in there and just does it so professionally. It's just kind of like, all right, this one's dead, this one's dead, this one's dead, and then
how about that kill on Yu Huang? He was half health.
Oh
he
my
hit
God!
him with
Yeah,
one touch.
Bonk, gone. That was huge.
There's
and the
that
thing
rage and Deathbringer.
It was just done so professionally that there was no big flashy boom boom, you know, like no big explosions needed. Just done like Loki does, assassinating and just very, very clean. So big props to Wyvern for pulling that out. The second quadra for the Kingslayers, putting Eclipse in a tough position with 2 birds down. And another pyro bomb going the way for Kingslayers. 25-17 at 31 minutes in. We're looking at 91k gold for Kingslayers and only 75k for Eclipse. But coming to the last items, Eclipse is fighting to kind of finish out builds, whereas Kingslayers is essentially full built with full items, looking to start buying those power pots. And this might kind of be the point where Eclipse is going to start feeling that extra money. But if Kingslayers can't really put Eclipse down soon enough, they're gonna catch up. They're gonna kind of get there with these full builds, and then at that point Eclipse might just find a little extra damage being done to them that they're just not exactly ready for. As we see Kingslayers posting up 4 strong, Wyvern causing issues and just forcing out that safety ability from Rizzler. Oh no, Leg gets caught up, but does manage to dash through his teammates, getting that door open and just in time. Kingslayers posting up for this bird. Wyvern just causing trouble anywhere they can. It's not looking good for Eclipse.
Yeah, and they're going to siege down this last Phoenix here and use the bombs. Ganesh ult does come out to stop him for the time being, but how long can you? Because fire minions are pouring in middle and right lane, and you got maybe 80% health on your Titan. I think this might be where Kingslayers push it hard and either win the game or get wiped and let Eclipse come back.
Bombs and snipes trying to find Rizzler. It's not enough. Casual forced to ult away from Wyvern, forcing out Joe all alone with his support, and then Loyal falls as well, falling to Ragemore. This bird, it looks like it's not long for this world. Trying to engage. Rizzler is forced away by Ragemore. Now it's 5-3. Nene is here though, and he did save the day before, but now this Titan is pretty low. Rizzler does get the kill on Ragemore with a nice little burn tick. And it looks like Kingslayers, being a little banged up and worse for wear, aren't going to try to push the objective right now. And I think that's definitely smart with the Fire Giant coming up soon. You have 4 people into 3, and you just kind of want to make sure trick Eclipse into taking a bad fight. Because you have the towers, right? If Eclipse gets a deicide, especially at this point, you're mostly safe. Even if they get that Fire Giant, they still have to go through at least 1 tower and a Phoenix, and then if they try to go against the Titan, it still has all those health from the accessory towers as well. So Kingslayers can afford to play a bit more aggressive, a bit more chancy, where Eclipse have to make sure they know what they're doing and everything is calculated. They cannot afford to just kind of be picked off, which it looks like Rizzler is kind of dancing with death with Wyvern just around that corner.
Yeah, we can't afford a pick here. Wyvern's looking for one. Really well played there by Kingslayers. They had the pressure from the fire minions as they're coming in the left and no one's there to clear it. That's going to be a big issue. But they had the fire minions pushing both lanes, and then I believe it was Wyvern was pushing up the mid, which split Eclipse's defense, which left ACookieNamedJoe and Low for Life out by themselves for easy pickings. And that's just what you want to do. Break up their defense. Standing 5 strong, Eclipse can definitely hold their own. But when you split it like that, they have no choice. And then it comes down to some talented players that are full build, taking on and getting one pick, and then it changes everything. And I think a big issue is there's no Spectral right now on Eclipse, with so much crit coming out of Loki and a little bit of crit coming out of Rama. So in my opinion, some poor build choices there. Not necessarily poor, but could be better, especially for this defense. And Fire Minion is still pouring in. Titan half health.
EFG falls to Kingslayers. Eclipse didn't get there in time to do anything. ACookieNamedJoe pretty poked out. This Titan not looking long for this world. 2 birds are up, but honestly, tissue paper would be a better defense at this point with EFG. And there goes the first one. Looking at the second one, Kingslayers going to mid, and then finally going to push down and kind of put the last nail in this coffin. We do see a Fury popped in a blink with a big silence, but nothing's really being followed up. Nicodrin in the back, big pillar of agony looking for Joe, who manages to just get away in time, forced to use the ultimate for the last seconds of CC, but does fall to Nico. And now we got the Ganesh just being put to sleep. He does get a return, but then turned on themselves. Wyvern does kill YeetonDaNaeNae, and now a Rizzler is forced to fight for their life. Getting a bit disrespected, dove into the fountain, but it just ends up not being enough. We do see the Titan fall to Kingslayers. Game 1 goes to Kingslayers.
Whew.
What a game 1 for this best of 5 finals. And I gotta say, it's a good indicator to show that Eclipse can hang with Kingslayers, but Kingslayers also show why they're undefeated. They show their solid play, their complete map control, and just their ability to team fight. And I think if Eclipse really kind of want to take on Kingslayers and try to take some games away and possibly even the championship, there's some things to address, but they've definitely showed why they're here and that they can stand up.
Yeah, it was a fantastic showing from both teams, and like I said, talented on Eclipse. I think just the strategy of Kingslayers prevailed in this game number 1. Something to look out for though on Eclipse is this pair in the mid lane, the jungle and mid laner Rizzler and YeetonDaNaeNae. They were dead even all game, kill death wise, just causing a storm. And I was watching their kill deaths. They were 4-0-2 together. They were 5-1-4, something like that together. And then look at their damage. They're literally 8 damage apart. These two are in sync together, and if they get any more in sync or one more player joins their sync, man, Eclipse gonna just start running it. And I hope to see that game too, but what a great game 1.
I can't believe what we're gonna see. I'm definitely rooting for Eclipse to kind of try to take some games off of Kingslayers, but I gotta give Kingslayers their due diligence as well. They've just completely fought really hard for that game 1 and showed why they are where they are. All right, we're gonna take a little break before game 2, so go get yourself a little snack, get your little cozy blanket, and we'll meet you back here. And welcome back. It's been definitely a fight for first place in this season 3 of SDL with Divine Kingslayers versus Eclipse. And first game did go to Kingslayers, but Eclipse definitely showed why they're here and that they have the potential to take game 2 and possibly more away from Kingslayers. It's your little cog champ Gearchief along with iNooblet here. iNooblet, talk to me. What did you like in that first game?
I really like the individual plays coming out of Eclipse. I liked YeetonDaNaeNae being on that set. I liked the Ganesh. Um, but Kingslayers just work so well together. They're always in the right spot at the right time. Their ward coverage, their objective rotation, their calls to go in or not. I would like to see Eclipse come together a little more with a little bit of louder voice and really take it to these Kingslayers because they have the talent to do so. And all of that starts in picks and bans. So, what would you like to see them switch up or switch up nothing in picks and bans?
I think Wyvern you always got to be careful of. It's just a matter of some gods you don't want to see him on. So let's say you don't want to see a Pele, right? Maybe you don't want to see something else here. And sorry, my nose is tickling a little bit, but I think you got to worry about Wyvern. So maybe there's some specific gods you don't want to see him on. I think the ban on Hades is huge. We did see a quadra kill out of Nico in game one, but it's definitely difficult. I think you can't really let the Hades was a good ban. I think that was a good change up. The Charon, as much as I would love to see him played, I think is a solid ban. And it wasn't so much the gods that were picked in that last game. It was more. It seemed like Kingslayers was a talented team, where Eclipse was a team of talented individuals, if that makes sense.
It does make
Where
sense.
versus everyone's great, but they're kind of doing their own things, and they just if they can pull them together, then that's there you go. But Kingslayers was just it seemed like a well-oiled machine that was just doing everything perfectly, and that they're
I
ready to
have come to
sacrifice some
cover
things
this
for
land
others.
in darkness.
So, the one thing I would like to see though is maybe a bit more aggressive for Eclipse, more of aggressive character in the solo lane, and then maybe I do like the pick for ADC. I think Medusa had
I will leave
potential, but
standing
was
no
probably wasn't
barrier to
the
our
best one
success.
to go into that.
And I like to switch up already. Get yourself a really good meta character like Chernobog who can come to these fights or escape to safety back to the team. Have a huge presence. That's going to be great for ACookieNamedJoe. Switch things up. But then, of course, Ganesh goes the way of Kingslayers, which is a dominant support right now. And I mean, the Ares was played so well, and now you don't have to deal with the Ares. But Ganesh, I imagine, is going to give some trouble in the hands of JunglePhobic.
Now, one question I have for you, Returnabog. Do you think his ultimate should be able to take him to teammates? And if so, the only thing I propose is that he would quote unquote take away their shadow, making them quick. Or maybe I guess he has to kind of go to them
We
so they
make
have a shadow,
war
but
so
makes
that
them
we may
a little
live
bit
in
quicker. So what he
peace.
steals from enemies, he gives to teammates, and he can teleport to them. Or do you think that's a bit too much?
Short answer, absolutely not. No way, no how. Don't do that. Don't even put that out into the universe. No, thank you.
All right, that's fine because that was my only issue that I have playing the character. But I'm also not a great ADC or hunter player, so that's why I'm just kind of looking for a bit more of insight when it comes to some of my ideas for this game. Uh,
No. Get picked up, though.
Kings Geb picked up, and I think Geb's always a solid character because you can get that absolution again that we saw being picked up in game one, as well as the CC cleanse from the shields, which is going to be useful looking at this Amaterasu who may silence or stun people. Plip's going to choose the Chalk again, and my only hope is that Casual kind of goes a bit more aggressive with some more damage items, maybe one or two, maybe a Glad Shield earlier against in the Kingslayers, but last game you couldn't really do it early when you're looking right in the eyes of a Hades.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind the chalk run back. It wasn't terrible game one.
It did things. It did things.
And now you got the other solo laner off of Hades, so now you can think, okay, chalk wasn't bad. Now he's not on Hades. Is the chalk going to be even better this game? So run it back. It's a best of 5. You got one more game to burn if you really need to figure some stuff out. So I don't mind it.
And we do see Kingslayers picking up the Agni again, which I think is a solid choice. DLC had some trouble early, but those big Agni stuns showed to be hugely a big contribution to the team fights. As we saw, they were able to hold people down or stop people from escaping. And Kingslayers, as well-oiled as a machine they are, were able to really take advantage of that and just completely run right through Eclipse. So I think the Agni pick is great. The last couple of bans for Kingslayers are going to be Kali, who we have seen pull some pentas out, so completely understandable. And this Ao Kwang. Eclipse going to choose to take away the Susanoo from Wyvern, which all I can say is I think that's a very smart choice. And then trying to remove Oleron from the equation entirely.
Yeah, but set's still up, and I want YeetonDaNaeNae to run that back. The set was great. It was a really good play. A little tougher into a Ganesh and an Amaterasu, but if you're not going to ban it and you play it that well, I say run it back.
I think the set could go pretty well into a Ganesh because not does the set doesn't really have any channels, so he can't be silenced out of that sandstorm, right?
Yeah, just silence out of the teleport and the chase down, and then if you use it right in his ult when he's dropping all those clones, then he's not going to be able to hit that big burst for at least a few seconds. So might give people time to get away from him, stick on him. But you're right, he still can play absolutely fine into Ganesh. I don't understand not banning it. Feels a little disrespectful when you know what YeetonDaNaeNae can do on it, but maybe they have a plan for it because now they did lock in the Artemis, and it is definitely hard to play a godlike set into an Artemis who has ult up and trap. So
yeah, that
maybe they're
panic
just
pig
playing
and
around.
yeah, the panic pig and the ability to set all those vine traps is definitely a good way to make sure set can't do too much. And I think it looks from Kingslayers they're more worried about the Pele, Ao Kwang, and Kali, which are all huge meta picks that definitely deserve to be feared. But also Kingslayers haven't picked their jungle yet, so maybe they're looking to try to steal the set away. But it seemed like last game Nene was doing big things,
Take
and they feel
pleasure
like they
in the
can handle
crushing
the
of
set.
one's
But
enemies.
not gonna choose it. Eclipse is gonna decide to go for Ravana in the jungle, and I'm curious how this is gonna shake things up a little bit.
Honestly, smart play. As soon as that Artemis is locked in, it makes me question set too. But Ravana, the overhead kick, the Mystic Rush, you can negate Artemis, and then you can also still chase down a character like Agni. You have Mystic Rush up, Agni dashes out to safety, you follow him right on top of his head. It's great. And then completely negates Amaterasu also. I think that's a really smart lock in. But now the question is this Amaterasu or Artemis jungle, or are we going to see Wyvern on something more traditional? I don't think he'll run back to Loki just because I don't think I've ever seen Wyvern run back the same god twice in a set. Question is, what is he going to do this time? Maybe MLF again?
That you know what? I haven't seen that game, and I kind of want him to do it just so I can see. I just so I can see how he does it, so I can take my own notes because I think that would be a lot of fun to try to pull that in a casual or a ranked game. But
Ooh.
we're gonna look at Hercules. If it's Hercules, then it's definitely gonna be Amaterasu jungle is where my money's gonna go.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, Amma can play a great jungle, but also, have you ever seen a full damage and then movement speed Hercules?
Well,
It
think
is
about this.
disgusting.
Think about this though. You see the Hercules, but Amaterasu can also benefit from, say, the same movement speed that Herc can and more with her shining shield, so she can definitely get around the map a bit more. And I think Hercules is a bit better of laning because of he can pull people into his tower, and he also can just displace a lot of stuff. So I think Hercules is definitely better suited for the soul lane. But hearing what Wyvern has been known for, I would not put it. I would not put it past him from trying to pull this Hercules into the jungle and maybe dropping some crit on him. And I think that's exactly what I want to see.
I can see the argument for Amma or Herc in the jungle, but knowing Wyvern and knowing how much he likes to be a presence and burst people down, I can't see him going Amma because she's gonna like Osiris melt you down, but she's not gonna just show up and just you're gone. And Herc can do that. Full damage Herc, full combos you, you're just gone. It's just happening. So my money's Wyvern Hercules jungle. But I could also totally see them throwing like Amma in the ADC and then Wyvern Artemis jungle. I could see that as well. I don't know.
Wyvern, I'm talking to you directly right now, however many months in the future, but I know you can hear me because I'm that voice in your head that's telling you build full crit Herc. Because here's what it
my
is:
God.
you stomp, bring him to you, get that fat crit off, shoulder push them into a wall, get another fat crit off, pop your heal with maybe a chest plate of regrowth, and then just following them with like that bonk noise, that cartoon bonk noise playing every time you hit them, because that's what if you do that, that's what I believe will be happening. I think you'll manifest that bonk noise.
It looks like the
Oh,
players are ready to head into this game too.
all right, looking like we're heading to game 2, and we shall see you on the battlefield. Hello, you there, and thank you for joining us for Game 2 of Divine Finals. Eclipse versus Kingslayers. Kingslayers is up 1, but Eclipse has everything to prove. Let's get into the bloodshed.
This is going to be an interesting one. There have been some good changes made, and there's been some spicy things, because Kingslayers didn't really have anything to change, right? What they did worked. They had some troubles from Eclipse, but they pretty much, they ran back DLC on the Agni, which I love. Nikodrin didn't get Hades, so they picked a meta god, the Amaterasu, which giving movement speed to
it is
Wyvern and
Herc.
whatnot. It is her jungle. It just plays the Wyvern style, man. He just wants to come in and just murder and then get out and take on 5 people all at once. So that's going to be interesting to see, but I like Eclipse draft. I think it's a smart draft. I don't know that we've seen Rizzler on Merlin, but we hadn't seen him on Yu Huang either, and played it really well. So I'm really looking forward to see how this one plays out.
We definitely know Rizzler is a bit of an aggressive character, or aggressive player. So Merlin definitely facilitates that when you hit kind of level 3, where you end up having essentially 4 or 5 abilities you can just drop on someone at any point with your ultimate up. And I think that Rizzler is going to be one to kind of take advantage of that. We see him in this ice stance a little bit early to kind of take advantage of those cooldowns. And I think it's going to be definitely something to watch for in that mid lane.
Yeah, I really hope he plays it as aggressive as Yu Huang. The flickers in, the stance change, and plus, looking at a Herc jungle, you got a lot of channeling abilities, so if you get Divine Rune, that Herc's going to have so much struggle healing. And speaking of Herc, Wyvern, the first one to make their way over to the shield buff, which means we might see a gank here.
No, Wyvern's going to decide to just start the shield buff, avoiding that awkward dance that they were doing in the beginning of last game. And I got to say, that makes a lot of sense, because we saw YeetonDaNaeNae kind of stand there and just kind of lose out on some farm trying to get an early gank off, but Wyvern's just kind of like, we don't need the gank this early. They're kind of back in their tower. So let's just take this shield buff while we have the opportunity.
There's that blink.
Rizzler doesn't see him. Here comes the blink and the shoulder. The beads are up. The flicker comes out and does save Rizzler. Manages to dodge the earth strike, trying to pull him back in, and manages to get out just barely. But it does kind of look that Nene was in some deep territory and trying to get some cheeky little steals off, and I gotta say I respect it.
Yeah, great reactions from Rizzler there, but we expect nothing less from him. A bit off the mark on Hercules' knockup, but I think that the cleanse was still active from beads regardless. That being said, I expect to see Wyvern back in the mid lane real soon.
Oh, big fights. Loyal's getting low, but JunglePhobic is forced to back away. YeetonDaNaeNae did use the root, and now there's also a trap to try to dodge, and Eclipse can't really afford to get too aggressive, but we also know that JunglePhobic is looking for a fight, especially early, and they're looking pretty tasty right about now. I'd be very hungry if I was the Kingslayers.
And what I would like to see, YeetonDaNaeNae come over to this lane as we watch Low for Life go pretty low with his life. I'd like to see Yeet come over here because Ragemore and the Artemis is pretty pickable early on in the game. Doesn't have a lot of movement speed yet from that stem on her one, and then just doesn't really have an escape and doesn't put out quite enough damage until you get some items online. So I'd like to see them put Ragemore behind, sort of flip the script, whereas ACookieNamedJoe was behind last game, and TheCasualOne holding their own against Nikodrin this time, despite being down a level.
Yeah, I would definitely like to see Nene kind of appear in this dual lane just to kind of relieve some pressure. Maybe get Joe to level 5 a bit early, because we just saw that Ragemore and JunglePhobic got their 5, but here goes Joe kind of securing their level 5. Only person who isn't is Geb, and I would like to see that remedied, because that one level is probably one of the biggest level differences in game, and just a huge turner. And some games can be won or lost essentially if you don't get that level early enough, because it just offers so much.
And
there's that one ability.
See Yeet kind of on the left side of the map. This is the perfect time when you have a Chernobog and a Geb with so much lockdown, and then you have the CC immunity and chase of Yeet combined with the Geb cleanse on the shield. You can easily kill Ragemore, and I want to see that apply before Ragemore gets too big and just starts running this game. And now, big fight mid.
Flicker into Mystic Rush. We got a lot of cosmic damage coming up from Merlin, who is stuck on the pillar. And now Yeet is blink and a dash. Wyvern cleans up Yeet. And that was extremely unfortunate for the for Rizzler, because he got stuck on the firewall in like it was pillar fire in like player wall. So it just, that is one of those situations where you just kind of like accept your fate. It's always just unfortunate.
Just clean Smite. The team fights are always just so good and coordinated from Kingslayers, and a huge 2 kills immediately for the Hercules jungle. And I was watching that blink timer, and I was like, oh no, and it came up, he didn't get hit, blinked in, gets a double. So now you have a big scary character like Hercules on a big scary jungler like Wyvern, and now they are significantly ahead with the first blood and then another kill.
It's just, Eclipse has to kind of think of what they want to do here, because with the first blood on Wyvern, essentially, and also with a follow-up kill, it's just, now you got to have a plan, you got to have an idea. It doesn't have to be crystal clear, it doesn't have to be thought out too far, but you got to have an idea of what you want to do. Your next goal really should try to be kind of get this Gold Fury as early as possible, maybe try to force out the dual lane, catch Ragemore stepping up a little bit too far, because with Yeet on a Ravana, there's a lot of CC immunity, and he also does have beads, which I want to say is amazing, because think of this, right? He can easily use the beads to deal with a Panic Pig. He can use them for any immediate CC. He can use his Mystic Rush for anything that he wants to retaliate with or respond with, and then he can use the backflip kick for just to avoid damage. So I think those beads is beautiful, and with those, I want to see him put pressure on his dual lane, because Ragemore cannot really get away. There's no real escape for this Artemis, who's going to be looking down at a Ravana who's going to have headlong rush, beads up, and backflip kick.
And mid Harpy's challenged by Wyvern there. I think he got the better of it. Bit of a scuffle in mid, but I think it'll fizzle out. Just kidding, Dharmic Pillars dropped on the low for life.
Stuck in the Dharmic Pillars, retaliates with the Cataclysm. And it looks like Yeet is going to use Mystic Rush in the middle of the fight. Here comes a Flicker. Rizzler looking to try to do some damage, but Kingslayers managed to back away. Ragemore diving the tower and finds the arrows on a ACookieNamedJoe, who could not get away in time. How unfortunate. 7 minutes, almost 8. Kingslayers up 3-0, 24,000 gold into about 22. And Eclipse really needs to kind of find a way to respond to Kingslayers, because if they don't, this is not going to be easy.
That was a ballsy kill from Ragemore there. Another millisecond, and that tower would have targeted him one more time and would have killed him. I'm sure ACookieNamedJoe got some damage off that. He would have got credit for that. But, hey, Ragemore's feeling good. You get ahead on Artemis, you're going to feel great. I love to see it. And one thing I wanted to bring up that was apparent is the beads is a great pickup on Ravana for what could come with Artemis. His low for life is locked down again.
This Geb just kind of stepped too far up. I don't know what they were thinking. Pulled back, boulder dropped, and a bomb. We do see the Dragonlordcat picks it up. And I don't understand. I don't know what they're really trying to accomplish there. The rollout into knockup with low health, he couldn't really finish anything off, and it's just, you got picked, and it's unfortunate, but it does happen.
It's just clean comboing, not much you can do there. You're not getting out of that, bit up too far. Well, going back to my point on Ravana, there's so much versatility in Ravana's kit, comboing his abilities. When you pick up beads, though, it almost forces your hand to use Mystic Rush early in the fight, because you have to close the gap and get in there. And the first time he died, that's fine. You know, you're doing a damage check, seeing where we go, and Ragemore deep in the tower again. Might not challenge that one. And now YeetonDaNaeNae going on DLC.
DLC stuck in with a root and then a stun. Yeet does find the first kill for Eclipse, but it wasn't on any of the... Oh, it was. Augie does manage to have a kill. I was about to say it wasn't anything on a kill, but ACookieNamedJoe looking for safety, finds it in the walls, managing to dodge the traps, but we know Ragemore is not scared of towers whatsoever. Looking for the hail of arrows, does find it, but is not enough. ACookieNamedJoe trying to play safe from the back of the tower. And a little personal story on Ragemore. In Season 2, he was in solo, and I played against him, and we were playing in semifinals, and we were both just doing dumb stuff because we were just trying to get those kills. I remember I was Hades, and he was walking into my tower to try to kill me. My Pillar of Agony barely saved me, but he just wasn't scared of the tower as Ao Kwong. And you can obviously see that same gameplay kind of right here, as he just, again, doesn't care about the towers, despite being only an Artemis this time.
Over life in a bit of a tough spot there again, but does get out to finally finish my point. Mystic Rush being your initiator, it causes a lot of issues just because in the middle of a fight, you use Mystic Rush, you can avoid a Hercules ult, a knock up, some Agni bombs, and you get those mitigations or the chase down, and you can finish a fight. So it's really good to use mid-fight and not necessarily at the start, but he's forced to because he has beads. And now we see the pressure just put on duo lane once again. CookieNamedJoe can't catch a break, and Low for Life catching a bad spot too this game. And look at Wyvern around the back.
Wyvern around the back of T1 yet again. We saw this game 1, and now it's very dangerous, especially game 2 with all these traps in the front. If they try to find any escape from Wyvern, they're going to go right into the traps. Panic Pig finds Geb, finds Joe, trying to get away with that Earthshaker, but it's not enough. Beads being used. The dash does not find any safety in a wall. Cookie does fall to Wyvern, but here comes the cavalry. Rizzler getting the knockout on Wyvern. Ragemore trying to run away, but you really can't as an Artemis. The traps come out big, but it's not enough. Rizzler finally puts down Ragemore. JunglePhobic trying to get away. Can Yeet kind of really sink him down? Backflip kick gets this immunity and allows Rizzler to get the kill on JunglePhobic. And that was beautiful. That was just team comp working together and catching someone who was out a bit too far. I believe that was 3 dead for 2, right?
Yeah,
and it really shuts down some players.
It was such good aggression from the Kingslayers. You know they have no fear. They're running through tower. We saw that same move in game 1. And then mid lane and jungle come over. Rizzler and Yeet come over and just clean things up because they're so talented. What we just need to see is them to make that rotation sooner. Don't let that pincer movement be happening for 30-40 seconds. Be there, and they probably win the fight with just the sheer force of the mid jungle combo, how they're playing. Either way, good showing from both teams, and it looked like Stygian went the way of Eclipse off the back of that, which is another W.
We definitely got the beacon. Really a big win for Eclipse. Ragemore finding some big autos from CookieNamedJoe. Getting a bit too aggressive, but the Geb manages to get stopped just in time. But now we see all that pressure is going to be dropped. CookieNamedJoe hides in a wall trying to find solace. Yeet does manage to collapse on Ragemore and put them on the gray screen. JunglePhobic could not get there in time. And finally, we see some pressure being put on Eclipse's dual lane from the jungle, and it just shows why you should have done it a bit sooner. Artemis can't get away that easy, and with Ravana having a lot of abilities that just completely negate the boar, I think it's about time we start seeing some action in there.
Yeah, I love that, and I want to see that constantly. Abuse the lack of mobility from the carry of Kingslayers. I would like to see Low for Life prioritize those shields on the Chernobog there. As soon as the boar comes out, throw it onto Ravana or Cherno so that they're immune, they're cleansed, and they can do the chase down. He used it on himself there, but that's okay. And now, Amaterasu with a 4-man gank.
Gets 1 stun on 4, but can't seem to get out enough. Nico fighting for life, but it's not enough. Cookie does manage to ult over. TheCasualOne now looking worse for wear. There comes the Chalk Axe trying to get away, but it's not enough. Wyvern looks hungry, trying to pull more. Does get the Geb. Shell being popped, but again, Kingslayers are getting tied up in this solo lane while Eclipse is pulling out the Gold Fury. Wow. Wyvern does manage to get a hold of the Geb and drop him down, and Alex Rizzler is kind of tied up back there. CookieNamedJoe just a bit too late to steal it away. Aegis popped. Wyvern's not looking too hot. Wyvern is actually looking amazing. Rizzler's not looking too hot. Wyvern's all over him, getting slowed, looking for the pull, can't find it, and it's not enough. I don't think there's a boulder ready yet to really put Rizzler out of his misery. But Wyvern is, you can see Wyvern's hungry right now. He is not happy.
Yeah, I mean, they use Chernobog Gold, how we wanted to see, get CookieNamedJoe involved in this. He rotates over, they take out a big threat, level 15 Amaterasu that's Huge XP for Cookie, who's now up a level on Artemis, and no way Artemis can rotate over. Problem is, when you do that, like we said before, the call has to be Gold Fury on the other side. So if you're going to commit those resources, the opposite side of the map, you have to make it worth it, meaning you get a kill and you get out for free, or you get multiple kills. They sacrificed 2 people and Gold Fury there, which makes it not worth it. So it was the right call, and it was good execution. You just gotta clean it up so that it's worth the trade of Gold Fury.
Kind of got to pull away a bit earlier. They got the kill on Nico, and at that point, they really should have backed away. I think they just kind of engaged a bit too much there.
Look at this, level 16 Nico Drin just chewing down the chalk. It was holding his own pretty well, both 0-1 and 0 for being 3 levels down, which once we get to that mid game and Amaterasu's in these fights, that's going to be such a problem. Now scuffle over the blue buff while a couple people are on Pyro.
Casual Dudge managed to really confirm his blue buff, but Nico gets away. And that's one thing I said about Chalk, is that you kind of fight just not to lose lane. The healing and the mana restoration, or the free ability you get every X amount of autos really helps. But we got Geb stuck in the middle of the lane yet again, trying to use his ultimate, get away from the pillars, but he gets pulled away. And now he's just trying to find any help he can. But here comes the cavalry. Geb does fall down, but Yeet finds a way to get Dragonlordcat. And now JunglePhobic is not in a good spot. A double kill for YeetonDaNaeNae, pursuing with the blink. And now Wyvern's all alone in this mid lane. Tier 1 really being chunked, but able to just find the space. And here comes Nico Drin. But it's not enough. A triple kill for Yeet. And now Nico is fighting 2 in the middle of mid lane. Really looking at Joe as low as they are. Does use the beats to get away from the roof. Trying to just close the gap, but it's not enough. Joe is definitely staying a bit too long, but here comes Ragemore with a big pig, but falls away and down to Rizzler. Now Nico just has to disengage of the entire situation. But you know what? It's been long enough that DLC and JunglePhobic are back. I think Eclipse really kind of needs to take this win and bring it over to Pyromancer. This beacon, I think Geb's doing the perfect thing. You got to kind of give it a distraction, and he's tanky enough that now he's wasting their time. They can't steal that Pyromancer, and maybe at this point I'd like to see him kind of get away, but I think what he's doing is fine, causing enough of a distraction. Does fall, DLC does pick it up, but Rizzler is here, and it's not looking too good. He gets DLC for taking out his support, and now JunglePhobic is forced away. I think that was a beautiful sacrifice, because we saw that the beacon started, he managed to allow them to take Pyromancer. Sure, he falls, but he's also 0-4 before, so 0-5 is not going to do too much for the Kingslayers, and now it really opens the rest up for Eclipse. So I gotta say, I think that was a beautiful distraction. It took them way too long to take him out, and he managed to start the beacon while also allowing his team to get Pyro safely.
What a great series of events for Eclipse. You know, being the armchair quarterback up here, with hindsight, I think it could have went a little smoother where they don't chase past the tier 2 there for the kill, splitting the fight, getting YeetonDaNaeNameJoe real low because Amaterasu's diving. You get the couple kills, you go straight to Pyro, a 5-man team, you clean it up. You know, you allowed time for DLC to spawn and come back and contest. But like you said, Low for Life did a great job of holding down the Stygian. Traded his life, but that's a good trade when everybody comes back, kills DLC again, and gets Stygian. All in all, great from Eclipse, and now I would like to see them keep this going by not taking a lot of time to go back to lane and grouping right back up and maybe trying to get this Primal Fury.
This is the exact turnaround that Eclipse really needed. They took advantage of the fact that Low for Life is not too hot, so they're just kind of sticking him out there as a distraction. It worked beautifully, and now with 11 kills to 10, only 2k gold down, I think is the point where Eclipse really needs to kind of bring it together. Cataclysm, Earth Shaking, and it's just not enough to really get the kill for Kingslayers. The Geb was popped out, but it looks like we're going to have a pause, so we'll throw it to Desk. Noob, tell me what you see, what you like, what you don't like, and what needs to change.
I like what I see from Eclipse. They're using this Chernobog ult to skew the fights in favor for them, change the numbers, get YeetonDaNaeNameJoe involved because he couldn't get involved in game 1, and it's going well. I just want to see them have a plan for what happens after that initial burst of winning the team fight, because you're not just going to start a team fight and get a kill and Kingslayers is going to back off. That's never going to happen. They're going to try and get that kill back. And you have to have a plan. Do you disengage and go for the objective? Or do you keep pushing the fight and take the chance that they win it back? But from what I see, Eclipse is doing fantastic in this game too, and doing exactly what they need to. They just got to keep it going.
And they really need to keep, like you said, keep it going. Keep the pressure on. At this point, it seems that the Kingslayers are being shaken up. That one team fight that led into the one team fight where they got all the kills, and they were able to get Wyvern, JunglePhobic DLC. They got the Pyromancer as well as that beacon. Looks like a pause will be resumed. Kingslayers looking at the Primal Fury. They do manage to kill it. CookieNamedJoe now stuck in a bad spot. Dashes down, and he's getting no support from the rest of his team. NaeNae trying to find Ragemore, but it looks like Ragemore will get away from him, but he won't get away from TheCasualOne. Manages to close it down. Nika looking at 2. Does get rooted, but manages to dash away, but here comes the Geb. Can he get the knockoff? Oh. He does, but it's not into the buff pit. That is unfortunate.
They gotta get something here. You scared him off, get at least T1, and it worked so well, but see, when you give up the pressure like that, you won the fight, you got the 2 objectives, you should be controlling the Gold Fury pit, and you give Kingslayers any leeway, they're going to take advantage, and now here's another fight.
Here's a big fight, big stun, JunglePhobic forced away, just being able to get away. Rizzler is looking for the kill. No ultimate, just waiting for cooldowns, but 3 people there, including JunglePhobic. Looks like they'll get away. T1 tower does fall to Eclipse. I want to see them swing towards this T1 in dual lane. I want to see them open up the map a bit more. They've shown that they're here to fight. The gold difference has just been brought up. It's only 1.2k. And the XP is going the way of Eclipse. A lot of shutdowns. It just happened. So I want to see them open up the map. You finally have the chink in the Kingslayer's armor. You finally have that crack. Expose it even more. Keep putting pressure. And because this is the opportunity they need, and they're showing that Kingslayers isn't exactly as infallible as some people may believe them to be.
Absolutely. You have YeetonDaNaeNae, Powerhouse 6-1-4, the first level 20 in the game. TheCasualOne has caught up a little bit to Amaterasu, and CookieNamedJoe is 2 levels ahead on Artemis. You have the best hunter in the game right now. Bigger than everyone on Kingslayers. You got to use that right now to your advantage to create a snowball that Kingslayers can't come back from.
I agree more, but it looks like Rizzler's going to get caught inside those Dharmic pillars on the walls yet again, and it just looks like Low for Life is just not having a good one. Falling down to Wyvern as Kingslayers surround and just destroy. Looks like that Eclipse is just kind of show a little bit up in this mid lane just to cause some resistance, allowing a split push from a CookieNamedJoe. Here comes the boar, gets 1 stun on Casual. Yeet manages to dodge it. This T1 not looking too healthy, but I think CookieNamedJoe has the opportunity to poke at this T2. I would like to see him stay there and just keep split pushing. Casual just causing issues. Ultimate, but it looks like he's going to be retaliated by Amaterasu's stun. Casual's not in a good spot. Stepped out a little too far. Does fall to Ragemore. And CookieNamedJoe deciding to just back away from the situation. Not really push that T2 because they're not sure where Kingslayers is going to return to, where they're going to be. Digibeacon up, Low for Life causing problems. Wyvern now being the distraction to keep Eclipse away from this beacon. Low for Life just doing what he knows he can do best, but he does fall, not in time for his team to come. Beacon falls the way of Kingslayers. CookieNamedJoe being shoved into the wall and dropped a boulder on him. Just a lot of damage, and now it looks like Kingslayers are taking the reins back.
A huge answer back from Kingslayers. That's what they needed, and they controlled all the objectives right there and the fight. I'm not sure. I missed where CookieNamedJoe ulted, but at the start of that fight, when everybody from Kingslayers was in mid, CookieNamedJoe's ult was fully on cooldown, so he just used it. I'm not sure where, but I do agree with you. And again, we're not here to say the players are wrong, but just to give some other options that they might have not seen in the moment. I think you were right that Cookie should have kept pressing there. You know, by the time he would have got to that fight, and by the time he did get to the fight, there's nothing left. The fight's over. It's a long walk. So you push down that T2. He definitely gets it there. And then you start pushing down that Phoenix, and it forces somebody back to deal with you. The Amaterasu teleport was down. So it forces somebody to back, which takes the pressure off the objectives. You know, that's hard to think about in the moment when everything's chaotic. But
Easily, yeah.
But, you know, it's something now that there's a lull to think about, like, hey, next time in that, I don't have ult. I keep pushing, and we get something for this fight. But now, Gold Fury up, Fire Giant up, Kingslayers feeling a little better about where they brought this game state back to, and Titans walking up the right side.
Yeah, and like you said, we also just have the benefit of just seeing everyone, right? We can see all their cooldowns and all that stuff, so it's easy for us to be like, oh, Amaterasu's teleports down. Well, maybe they don't have a timer on that, right? Maybe nobody saw it, so it's just... but I gotta say, it was great. I loved the original split push, and they might have been able to get away with more, but I think it was a great idea to start out with. Wyvern being caught in the middle of Eclipse does find his way out. Blink and beads popped. Wyvern is now walking away. NicoDrin finds a stun on 2. Low for life and TheCasualOne, but Nico drops low. Rageboard gets the kill onto Low for life. Joe is looking pretty not good. Rizzler 2. The button doesn't find him. We do see the flicker save out Rizzler, and now JunglePhobic is caught in a bad situation. Yeet saves his teammates, but now we have this Titan pushing into the T2, and it's not looking good. That Titan is pretty healthy, and this Phoenix is not looking very good right now, trying to fight for its life. Here comes the rest of Eclipse, trying to drop damage where they can. Bird falls, and now the Titan is looking to fight the other one. The rest of Kingslayers is going to back away, happy that they managed to get a tower and a Phoenix, and just let this Titan just fight for itself.
That's a huge 25-minute Phoenix for them. You know, it is the side you'd least want, but regardless, 25 minutes in, that's going to help so much with the inevitable Fire Giant push, and DLC caught out lazy back by Yeet. They had a ward there.
Oof. You hate to see it. You just hate to see it, because now that allows Eclipse to kind of really just fight back on all these. You can kind of just make a presence. Looks like they don't really have enough information or really going to try too much on this Gold Fury, though. But I think they definitely could have had the ability to, especially with DLC down.
Yeah, and they almost didn't look phased. They went straight to Gold Fury. They knew the plan. Hey, they saw DLC backing. Maybe they thought, we're not going for an objective. We're all resetting. So an easy gold for Kingslayers, and that's huge. They're now up 7K in this game, but the kill state is even, 15-16. So Eclipse is taking it to them. They just see where we go from here. Imagine Fire Giant going to be the next big tussle. And so it gives us a chance to kind of look at these builds. An interesting thing, second game in a row that Eclipse has not really had any anti-heal on their team. Wasn't so prevalent in game 1, but now with this Hercules running around and the passive from Amaterasu, you should have a little bit just to try and burn people down faster. But Rizzler, man, playing out of his mind on this Merlin, and he is shredding people. So not the worst thing not to have, especially having that tablet. And now all of Kingslayers around Pyromancer and Fire Giant, and Eclipse not quite in position. This could be bad as Low for Life's up high again.
Does manage to get away with the rollout. We see Wyvern missing a couple abilities, but it's not really too important because it's just a level 15 Geb, and you're more looking for opportunity than anything. It's not like he really had too much to worry about. And we see Kingslayers picking up the Pyromancer, another objective going their way, just making this lead that much bigger. And Eclipse really needs to start doing something. And I agree. I think it needs to start with some of this anti-heal. You can, if it's just the Amaterasu, you can kind of get away with it. But especially when you got a Herc that's in your face, especially Wyvern, you need to kind of respond to it. And I think it would also help maybe Divine Ruin, because if you can kind of get a Divine Ruin on the Merlin as last item, it might chain over and then force the Herc not to be able to blink at some opportunities. So, and I definitely would like to see it.
I think it's necessary. I thought it was necessary in game 1 with the Hades just doing whatever he wants and there's no anti-heal, but it's tough to fit into this Merlin build because you have Book of Thoth and Tablet, and you've already maxed out cooldown, so not a lot of room for Pen now. But look at TheCasualOne already dropping the DLC up there alone.
Gets caught. Dark Pillars stops the pursuit of Wyvern, who walks away with essentially no health. Geb falls to Ragemore, and now Rizzler is trying to run away. A blink. NicoDrin just all on top of him. Yeet trying to fight for his teammate's life and manages to get out with a backflip kick. Fire Giant is still up, and it's going to force Kingslayers to go back that way, kind of giving the opportunity for Eclipse to either maybe go in there and steal it or just build their team back up. But 1 minute left. Kingslayers is now stuck with the problem of, do we try to hold it for the EFG, or do we just let it be regular Fire Giant?
Yeah, I think they just take it here.
I think you just take it, exactly. You showed your kind of dominance, that you can probably get it again late game, and that you just want to have it at least now to give yourself a better game state.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what they do here. I'd like to see them at least get the last T2s. You got fire minions pushing down right. It's gonna cause some pressure and somebody to be dedicated over there. Get these T2s, get your gold up, finish your builds, get EFG, and then run it down. But Kingslayers might just try. I mean, you do have an Artemis that shreds, so they might just try and burn down these Phoenixes as well.
Especially with this one Phoenix and right so low. Fire minions are pushing. You also have another wave of fire minions that spawned in the back. So I think this is definitely going to be something they're... It's such a catch-22, because if they try to defend one Phoenix, the other one's going to fall. Bombs dropped, and the Phoenix does fall. Do Eclipse try to stick around and right, or do they try to defend the middle one who's already being poked out by Ragemore? We do see a wave of minions here, and 5 strong for Kingslayers. JunglePhobic walking into a whole bunch of fire and some crits. Not looking too good. The dash does manage to get him out. Nico following up with a big ultimate. Wyvern gets Rizzler. Yeet gets a double kill on the back. He gets DLC and Ragemore. JunglePhobic trying to come back and save his team. We do see Mystic Rush, and now Nico, without a dash or an ultimate, is back in this fight and not being able to get out. A lot of roots and a lot of lockdown. Nico does manage to try to get away with no health, but Yeet gets another kill and drops down Nico, kind of opening up this ability for Kingslayers to do something. They have 3 into 2. I want to see him try to push this solo lane, take at least this T1, or just anything. We do see the beacons up, and JunglePhobic is on top of that. Wow, there and gone. Wyvern immediately deletes Nene, and now Joe is forced to run away, getting the double dash and leaving Wyvern in the dust. That is
disgusting. It's disgusting. That's
yeah,
what it is.
I don't think there was any need to really chase Wyvern down, especially knowing he's Wyvern. I think that Eclipse probably should have focused more on the map than pursuing a kill, especially with the one teammate lead. But Eclipse is doing a really good job of making sure that that they're staying in this game, and Kingslayers is just doing a really good job of being absolutely oppressive.
And what a showing from both junglers, man. 11-2 for Eclipse, 12-3 for Kingslayers. These are 2 juggernaut junglers. If you're looking at Season 4 and these junglers come back, these got to be the top picks, and it shouldn't be in Divine. Let me tell you, these guys are playing out of their mind. They should be playing at a much higher tier, because this is ridiculous. And very well complemented by their mid laners, who are both very equal and destroying. It's just so much fun to watch, and I don't want to take away from that defense there. Eclipse defended really well. That Phoenix almost didn't even get scathed in the mid lane. Not a lot you can do about Dharmic Pillars creating space and a double bomb hitting your weakened Phoenix, but Artemis could just not get in there. Ragemore could not have path. They tried to make space, but Ragemore couldn't get in, and then Yi got a huge double kill, and they walk away just fine.
We do see the Kingslayers, after getting Pyromancer and stacking up on bombs, they're going to get a Primal Fury, making just the next Fire Giant that much easier. If I'm Eclipse right now, I think we need a plan. We need an idea, and we need to execute.
Not sure what Rizzler's going last item here, but if he's...
Magi's, maybe?
He's not going Magi.
No, it Magi's.
It's gotta...
Blue.
If he's not going Spirit Rope or Mantle, he's, you know...
It
has to be, which is gonna overcap him on cooldown, and he still doesn't have any pen. So I don't know about that. I mean, he's playing out of his mind, so more power to him. He's top of the player damage charts, is positive on KD, but it seems odd. But you know, we don't know everything. I don't know everything, and I'm be interested to see how that works out.
I think he's just trying to look for survivability, trying to make sure that some of that damage that gets put on him is a little less, so he can stay in the fights more and just drop more. And I think if it's the mantle, he's trying to look for that extra CC cleanse and immunity to try to keep him from those death situations. And if it's just the rope, again, survivability, which I think can definitely benefit him. But again, like you made light of it earlier, we need to see some anti-heal back in deep in the tower. Joe fall, but TheCasualOne does find Ragemore. Joe playing out of his mind, manages to stay alive just long enough. Wyvern now fighting for their life. YeetonDaNaeNae finds DLC. JunglePhobic being forced away. And the best part is, Eclipse has space now. JunglePhobic is not looking good against Yeet, who's just putting out the damage. Wyvern
So
trying
hard
to
to
find
kill.
anything again. So hard to kill. Again, that lack of anti-heal. With 3 people on it, you don't really need it. Sacrificing his life. Bomb does fall. And we do see 4 people alive for Eclipse. And Fire Giant is up. This is the exact opportunity they needed. No more fire minions. Your Phoenixes are fine. You have a wave to clash with the 1. You need this Fire Giant. This is going to be EFG, and it's going to allow them to push for everything they need, especially with those timers being so long. Wyvern's at 40 seconds. JunglePhobic's at 30 seconds. They need to be up there, and they need to just push. Hold it off for 6 seconds, boys. ACookieNamedJoe will pick that up, and that's going to be huge. This is the exact turnaround Eclipse was fighting for.
Yeah, and Amaterasu might be able to TP up there if there's a ward, so they'll have a shot. Doesn't look like there is, and no one else can get there in time. It looks like it's going to be a free EFG for Eclipse, and what a turn of events, rewarded for a fantastic defense.
Fantastic defense.
And now EFG, more kills than Kingslayers right now, and almost all of them full build, just a little bit more to go. Crit online for Chernobog fully, so I think this could be a huge turning point for Eclipse right here.
They need to do something with this, because at this point, if they just play defensive and just consider it as a Fire Giant taken away, then all they're doing is just extending the game for Kingslayers to take something away. Like, because the big issue is if they wait and then it's burned and Fire Giant's down, and then Kingslayers just throws himself into the grinder, and Eclipse pops up again, and they just take Fire Giant off of it. It's just going to be a constant cycle, and eventually Kingslayers is going to find a way to break the defense. So Eclipse needs to take advantage here. They have the ability, and they've shown they can really pick apart Kingslayers. So I want to see them take advantage of this EFG and just take some towers. You get the T1 in solo lane. I want them to be active with this.
It looks like they're going to settle for the Stygian. I would love to see them get this Oni and use the pressure from the waves, plus your EFG being able to just... Chernobog's going to knock down these towers and Phoenixes in like 3 autos. So if they get Oni here, they are set up in such a good way to siege this throne room and take themselves a game.
Come on, guys, you can do it. But Kingslayers is showing that they're not going to be discounted. We got no one zoning. It's going low. We do see Kingslayers steal it. Eclipse was not cautious enough. Oni does go the way of Kingslayers, and with most of their ways kind of considerably pushed up, this is going to force Eclipse to really deal with it. And now that Fire Giant is just going to kind of tick away.
That's tough, man. I mean, it's not the end of the world. You can deal with these Oni waves, but, you know, when you have EFG and you have the momentum and you start up a Fury and someone's contesting it, that's the go button for you to force them into a fight and win that fight. Someone should be scared to step up to objective, but when 3 people are sitting there just waiting uncontested and they steal it and walk away, you're not using EFG. You should be winning that fight because it's skewed in your favor. Now it looks like they're going to take a Pyromancer. So we have a 3-2 split by Eclipse, who have EFG and probably should be running this down as a 5-man group. So
I think this is fine. But I think this is fine. I want to see them get this T2. They have EFG. They have minions. Burn it. Force Kingslayers to split, not get much off of this. And it's just, I want to see a bit more pro-action. This EFG is not going to last forever, and you still have a T1 in right lane. Yeah. So it's just hard, because you know they have the ability to do it, but they're just playing a bit too safe. And it's the issue of playing not to lose versus playing to win. Because if you're playing to not lose, you don't really have any opportunity to win. You don't have a win con. You just have a not lose.
Life caught out.
We got him caught, stuck in the dark pillars, but at level 20, finally able to sustain some of that damage. Stun out, knock up and silence, able to get Loyal for Life away, but Casual's taking some damage, but again, he is chalk, able to get out of there. Rollout gonna take Low for Life just out of the damage area. We do see Wyvern drop to Yeet, who's now caught behind 4. The stun doesn't find its way, but the damage does. JunglePhobic right on top, stopped by the root. But Yeet does fall to Ragemore. The rest of Eclipse is trying to get Nico, who manages to skirt away. Low for life, finding a lot of damage on top to him. The rollout is stopped by his silence, just begging for those cooldowns to come off. We do see a big shield allowing him to stay alive. Joe dives in a bit too far and gets picked off by Ragemore. Now it's 4-3, and there's no EFG to even the score. Oh no, Rizzler's just up a bit too far to stop the kind of assault that is Kingslayers. Flicker gives him the distance, but we do have the pillars back up, forcing the beads out of Rizzler. And now it's not looking good. Rizzler's now up there all by himself, waiting for his silence from JunglePhobic just to help pick him off. TheCasualOne is now forced in a right. Big stun. JunglePhobic's low. Ragemore's low. Rizzler does manage to find it on them, dodging Agni Bombs like an absolute champion. But can he do it for much longer? Yes, he can with the Aegis. But here comes NicoDrin with that big ultimate, but not able to find the stun. Rizzler just trying to dance away, but it's not enough. Those Phoenix shots can't seem to do enough damage. JunglePhobic now left in the hot seat trying to dance away. Nico, though, is being caught up by Nene. This is just ridiculous. Just constant pursuit. TheCasualOne finds jungle, and now Nico is trying to run away from Yeet.
It's too fast.
But yeah, that Amaterasu speed is just too much, but here comes the rollout to try to compensate. The dash does manage to get Nico just that distance away, and now it's 3 versus 3, with the advantage being for Eclipse. I want to see them start up this Fire Giant. I want to see them kind of push away Kingslayers and then force a fight that puts Kingslayers in a bad spot. This is Eclipse opportunity to really kind of take back this game. Kingslayers have shown that they're solid, that despite being down 1 kill, they made sure all the kills have impacts. There's no just dead kills. There's no just dead air. They've made use of every single elimination that they've done. And Eclipse hasn't really been as efficient, but they've shown that they can stand their own. Low for life getting caught. Wyvern just beating him up with that club. Big damage. As Kingslayers start surrounding this Fire Giant, knowing that this is probably going to end this game, whoever picks it up. And TheCasualOne forced out that bubble, and now he doesn't have the security from Magi's. And we're looking 1 short here at this Fire Giant dance, as Joe is still trying to come to the party. But Kingslayers is waiting on JunglePhobic, and this is really intense right now.
Yeah, all of that was crazy. It's like someone forgot to tell the Kingslayers that Eclipse had EFG. They didn't care, man. They took it to them, and they did it so well. And frustrating part is that Eclipse individually were playing so well. They were, YeetonDaNaeNae was doing huge damage, and so was Rizzler, but they just were never together. Rizzler kept getting pulled away to stop Amaterasu, even though TheCasualOne should, because he has TP. And so the person with the highest damage in the game was not in your fights while you had EFG. So just a great job by Kingslayers of keeping them away from everything, taking the fight to them. They got 1 T2, and that was it off EFG. And now, hopefully, Kingslayers don't get this next EFG, because I can't imagine if they're the ones with it.
NicoDrin being crit down, forced to run away with his ultimate. It doesn't really save him from those crits. Looking insanely low. Now Wyvern is the target. Does pull Joe, but is forced to dash away. Finally, this T1 is getting some attention. Look at it drop. Low for life does fall to Ragemore. Dark Pillars being used, which might give Eclipse the opportunity they need. Joe's being pulled. Nene's being pulled. And now we see NicoDrin is just on the hunt. It's a complete role reversal. 1, 2, 3, and there goes Nene. Casual is now caught in 5, being stunned and silenced and stopped. Can he get the teleport away? He cannot. Well, he does, but it's just into more teammates. It's not looking good. 5 strong into 2. Sure, it is Rizzler and Joe with those big crits, but we've just seen so much damage being eaten up by Wyvern and NicoDrin that it doesn't really matter. Eclipse can just keep throwing it out, but Kingslayers is just doing amazing. We do have the Titans out for a second time, though, and it's looking to be a rerun of what happened before. Just a
last
rundown.
time they got the Phoenix from it, and now there's 3 people dead for quite some time, so be surprised how they do it. Maybe let the Titan push and get yourself EFG, but man, Ragemore coming online with this crit on Artemis. Artemis crit is so destructive. And again, no one with spectral armor on Eclipse, so just tearing through the front line, and then there's nothing the back line can do about it. So it's just decision making in the builds that are making this so much tougher for Eclipse than it has to be, because they're playing so well. It's just a couple little nuanced things that's making them fight into a strong headwind. It's crazy. So now EFG going the way of Kingslayers, and that's absolutely going to spell some trouble.
Kingslayers showing why they're undefeated and how that they're just a complete force of nature. You can't do anything really against a hurricane. You can hunker down. You can't really do anything against a tornado. You can just hide in your basement. And that's exactly what Kingslayers is showing, is that you can try to do some things to mitigate the damage, but in the end, it's going to take what it wants. And Kingslayers is doing exactly that.
Now it looks like they're settled for a primal before they go into this, but there are no structures up. Only the Phoenixes, one being weakened. Kingslayers were hungry in game one, just not afraid to push straight down the throat of these lanes. So imagine they're about to here in a second. Eclipse has been very good on defense, but they have not had to fight into an EFG on defense. So it's going to be interesting to see how they play this. If we know Kingslayers, they're going to split it with Wyvern going somewhere. Yeah, the crits are just disgusting.
You saw those numbers too?
Just disgusting.
Ultimates will do that much, right? And then be on a 90-second cooldown, but you can just sit there and throw 2 arrows and all of a sudden, oh my god. Makes me want to puke.
They can get it done though. You look, a 50k damage on Rizzler and 14 and 4 on YeetonDaNaeNae, part of 19 out of 26 kills. So they can make this work. It's just all about how they play it right here.
We do have a bomb in the pocket of Nicodrin, who might just completely blow this Phoenix defense wide open if they can kind of get the space. It's all based on if Eclipse can destroy that bomb or Nicodrin in time. Wyvern trying to create a distraction, but is kind of falling low. That's half health. But they are a Hercules. So there's a lot you can do. Panic Pig up. Nico try to create space. Hasn't had the opportunity to drop the bomb. Big stun. Yeets in the back with the pig down. He's got the opportunity, but it's not enough. Look at all those bombs being dropped. ACookieNamedJoe's in the middle of the fight and just gets erased. And now we got the Geb pulled back into a fight. It's not looking good. We need to see big plays from this Chalk and this Merlin, but I don't think it's enough. Rizzler throwing out damage as best as they can. There is no pullback from the Hercules, but Casual is now just stuck in the middle of 5, being silenced and stunned and just dashed at. Is not looking good. This Titan, though, isn't taking much damage initially. They do have an opportunity. Rizzler just needs to get the damage out, but Nico does find him. We do get a return kill for TheCasualOne. He does find DLC, but Nicodrin just ends his story. And now Titan falls, giving Kingslayers game 2 in this best of 5. Hello, welcome back to Desk. Nooblet, talk to me. Talk to me. I want to hear it. I want to hear all your opinions. I want to hear it all.
My brain is jello right now. It was such good Smite from Kingslayers. Nothing new that we haven't seen from them. All just impressive, clean, textbook Smite with no fear running at them. But Eclipse had such good moments in there. They were looking so good. There were 3 or 4 moments where I'm like, oh yeah, Eclipse. They put all their foot on the gas right now, and this game goes their way. And once you break the mentals of Kingslayers, we're assuming if you beat them one game, because they haven't lost all season, not a single game, that could just be such a snowball to affect the rest of the set and make you champions. I'm waiting for it. It almost happened game 2. Luckily, we still got at least one more game, and we could see reverse sweep.
After watching Kingslayers, I don't think there's much that could really break their mentals. I think that there is something Eclipse can do to kind of shake them. We saw how well that Kingslayers isn't infallible, that do have the opportunity, but again, the big issue is a talented team versus a talented team of individuals, I guess, again, right? Because we see Yeet doing big things, Rizzler's doing amazing stuff, big crits by Joe, huge ultimates from the Geb, and then you have the Soul Laner TheCasual, who's making these big silences and knockups, and they're good. They do big, good things. But when they can't really combine all that stuff and execute a plan, then It's just they pick one person or another, then they're split, and Kingslayers just teams up and takes them down. So again, it's just a matter of Eclipse kind of communicating and really pulling through.
Yeah, and it was impressive all around. They made some good changes going into game two. I would like to see a few more changes going into game three. And I still think Eclipse has exactly what they need to win this set and take down the Kingslayers. It's all about how they adapt and picks and bans, and maybe a little bit on builds. I've been harping on the builds. I want to see
Some more
a
anti-heal.
reactive build come out of Eclipse. The anti-heal if needed, the spectral if needed. I would like to see the build change a little bit on Rizzler there. Man, he put out so much damage. But, Spirit Robe and Breastplate aren't going to help you that much when you're 1v4 looking at a crit Artemis. But if you have a little more pen, a little more power online, maybe you melt them before they melt you. Regardless, played fantastic, both sides. And I'm really excited for game 3 after the quick break.
All right, see you guys then.
Caution, condoms hot. 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 You got to give me all you got. Caution, condoms hot.
You got to give me all you got. Caution, content's hot. You get to give me all you got. Caution, content's hot. You get to give me all you got. Caution, content's hot. You get to give me all you got.
Hello and welcome back to this Best of 5 Divine Finals between Eclipse and Kingslayers. I'm still iNooblet, joined by Gearchief here on the desk. We had a bit of a technical issue after game number 2 where game 2 stats didn't want to show, so we're going to give those to you real quick while Gear walks us through what to expect for game number 3.
I think for game 3, it's going to be a bit more of the same from Kingslayers, right? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Wyvern's just being an absolute menace, slowly but methodically taking the jungle and then objectives. We've seen great early game Gold Fury plays, and then moving into Pyromancer. Just some issues that we've seen them have, like when we saw Loyal for Life was able to kind of block him out block him on the beacon, while his team was able to get the Pyromancer, but we've seen a majority of the Pyromancers and objectives go the way for Kingslayers, so I think they're just going to continue to be solid. Eclipse, I think, need to kind of find a way to rally around, especially their jungler and mid laner, and find a way to initiate a bit better, spread out some damage, and adapt more in their builds. We're harping a bit on it in that game too, but I want to see if it calls for anti-heal. I want to see a little bit of anti-heal because we saw a Herc and an Amaterasu, and I don't think there was much anti-heal on the side of Eclipse. But game 3, it's a whole new game, and if I'm Eclipse, I'm treating it as if it's just game 1. I would treat it if I was game 1 as Kingslayers. You don't want to get too confident. You don't want to get too cocky because you don't know if it'll just be one game. And if you're Kingslayers, you might think, all right, it's just one game, but it might be the momentum that Eclipse needs to just kind of start picking up and winning these games. So you can never treat the game as if you've already won or you've already lost. You need to keep it as if it's just the beginning.
Take it one game at a time. Don't think about the scoreboard, 0-2, 2-0. Just take every game is game number 1, and you play your heart out. And so far, nothing has really changed on these picks and bans. The same for Eclipse that they did game 2, banning that Hades away. The same thing that the Kingslayers has banned both games. Is there anything on this third ban that you want to see Eclipse take out that you saw in game 2? Because it's honestly really hard to ban out the Kingslayers. You ban one thing, and all of a sudden Artemis comes out. All of a sudden the Loki comes out, or the Hercules. So what do you do to get rid of it?
I don't think you really ban out anything for ADC. Ragemore is known for them off lane picks, and I think you kind of wanted to pick up that Artemis again, so you can exploit the inability to movement. I think Charon is actually perfect choice. Um, I want to see Eclipse take that elephant Ganesh, excuse me. Oh my god, sometimes you just blank. But
Would you rather them take
I want
the Cherno or the Ganesh here? Because both are still open.
I want to see him take I want to see him take the Ganesh because I don't think Razemore is gonna pick the Cherno because as we know he likes to pick his off stuff, his off meta stuff. So I wouldn't be too worried if I was Eclipse, but we've definitely seen a lot come from Kingslayers and that Ganesh. And also Ganesh has a lot of ability to steal objectives by just dropping pillars on it. So I kind of would have liked to see the Ganesh picked first for Eclipse. But but we did see Cookie able to get out of some pretty sticky situations in that game 2, diving into walls and just hopping up into the air. So I can understand why they want the Cherno.
And the Agni run back for the third time in a row for DLC. I guess Eclipse doesn't really consider it much of a problem. I mean, early laning phase has gone pressure-wise to Rizzler and overall damage to Rizzler, but he's been playing it well, and so far he's gotten 2 Ws on it, so at some point maybe you think you just got to at least throw him off his game and force him on a different mage.
I think that the Agni is fine.
I will leave standing.
They were able to kind of play around it, but the Ganesh was a huge problem. We saw beautiful pillars just pinning opponents to walls, and I think that's something you really need to be worried about. It seemed like Eclipse was kind of able to handle the Agni somewhat. It wasn't necessarily Agni beating you. It was just DLC. So
Okay.
I think if they can kind of handle DLC and just kind of figure a way to deal with them, then Agni's not going to be as huge of a factor. Because I think if you just stick DLC on any type of god, that you might get a similar result, just a mage doing damage. But we do see a bit of more of a run back from
Yeah,
Eclipse.
it is a run
I
back.
think the Merlin is fine. We saw a lot of just big damage and stance switches, so I actually kind of like the Merlin here as opposed to Yu Huang. I'm never a huge fan of Yu Huang because, like you said, there's no huge burst or burn. But Kingslayers is looking for the Susanoo, and now I'm scared for Eclipse. I am terrified.
That's been banned away 2 games in a row, and we've seen Wyvern just excelling on whatever he picks. And now you got to assume that's a comfort pick since it's been banned so much. Now locking it in the top 3, so we might see a crazy showing from Wyvern on this one. But yeah, the run back, and I don't mind it because like we were talking about, they played well and there were a lot of moments where that game could have been Eclipse's at any time. So why not run it back? You drop 60K on Merlin. Yeah, maybe we lock the Merlin back in.
I do want to see the Low for Life kind of being a bit more reserved. They definitely got caught out a bunch of times early, and I think that it's sad because you've seen huge Geb plays, and you think you would see more if they weren't caught out as much. So I'm hoping that they just play back a little bit more.
So now we have the exact same bans, Kingslayers, all 3 games in a row, banning the same stuff. It makes me think the Cali and Ao Kwang been banned away from YeetonDaNaeNae, and YeetonDaNaeNae has just been destroying all 2 games, just absolutely annihilating. You think maybe if those are 2 top picks for him, they might have prioritized that on the first 3 before they get banned out, and see if YeetonDaNaeNae can carry one of these to a win.
But I think the issue isn't so much as trying to get him one of those guys that can carry. I think you need to give the rest of your team the gods that they feel comfortable on, so there's not as much to carry, right? So if Cookie doesn't get the god that he's good with in the duo lane, and maybe if Rizzler doesn't get the gods he's comfortable with, and they can't rise up to where the point where they can win. So let's say that Nene just gets pent after pent after pent, but he's the only one alive, and then eventually gets killed in a deicide because his team couldn't really do anything, and then Kingslayers run through it, right? I think that's the issue. Nene might be thrown and maybe to a different galaxy, but if the rest of his team's stuck on Earth and can't really get in orbit, then you don't really benefit much. You do see TheCasualOne picking up the chalk again.
Are we gonna see an exact run back?
I think so, but I don't know, because it was a good team comp, but something needs to change, right? because if you lose and you do the same thing again, like insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Here's something new. Cleo being hovered by Wyvern, or excuse me, by YeetonDaNaeNae. If anything was to change, I don't think it's what YeetonDaNaeNae is doing. I think he's playing phenomenal.
That may be
So I don't think it really matters
undoing.
what he picks, but he's going to choose to go with the Cleo here. How do you feel about the Cleo?
I am a bit nervous with Cleo. I'd love to see her because good players can absolutely abuse her ability to go through walls and pursue and chase, but there's no CC immunity out of her. There's nothing really completely safe with her. If you can't get in that wall, and it's not as easy as Turnabog to get in a wall, then you just get beat up, right? She does have a dash and a silence, but it's tough, right? It's just tough. So I think because there's no real safe way to get in. You dash, but you can get hit, knocked up during your dash. It's not like the Mystic Rush or a Leap where you can jump over people. It's not
Right.
like it's not like the set where you can just teleport to someone, right, and then just start doing big damage. You're kind of going through people, and you just open yourself up to a whole bunch. But there's just a lot of damage that she can do at the same time. So this isn't a time to doubt Nene, right? Like both games, Nene's just been a complete force of nature. So I think Nene's going to do really well here. I'm just kind of picking up some of the concerns about the god.
Well, we see all 10 gods locked in for what could potentially be the last game of the Divine Finals, making the Kingslayers the champions, or what could be the start of a reverse sweep. What are your initial impressions before we jump into game here?
I really like Kingslayer's team, especially with the tier, the siphon. There's a lot of control on that team, and then just a lot of damage as well. So I think Kingslayers are solid. Eclipse has a pretty good team, but I think there should have been some changes in there. I think the Chalk kind of needs, again, I think you need more damage out of that solo lane, because we've seen him suffer and be a couple levels down in that early game. So maybe more aggressive god can help him get those levels, or maybe more aggressive build. But I think something needs to change for Eclipse. It wasn't the team, so hopefully it's the builds, or maybe some ways that they play, but something needs to change because they're just kind of walking into another L if they don't kind of learn. But
I
So,
agree with you. Let's
that's
check it
where I'm
out.
at. All right, we'll see you guys on the battlefield. Hello, you pretty people out there. It's Gear here, and I'm with Nooblet. Here, you got Game 3 for Divine Finals, Eclipse versus Kingslayers. Let's get into the bloodshed. Excuse me.
I'm so excited for this one. Could be a 3-0 sweep. If this happens, if this game goes to Kingslayers, that means we saw this team never lose a single game all season, and that is wild to try and comprehend. But I'm also excited to see what Eclipse has learned over the course of this set and what they are going to implement right here, right now, do or die against the Kingslayers.
I think maybe Eclipse doesn't have the exact same team, and I was kind of harping on that, but maybe this change with Yeet might be exactly what they need. So hopefully they can do it, and hopefully for Eclipse, Wyvern on the Susanoo isn't as terrifying as we might bring him out to be. And I'm nervous, but I'm hopeful. The Kingslayers have done so well, and I'm rooting for them to get their undefeated. But Eclipse is the underdog here, and I'm just rooting for them to at least pull one game out from under Kingslayers.
Yeah, and they absolutely can do it. And of course, everyone wants to root for the underdog. Very much like to see it, but I'm also just here to watch some good Smite. And so far, it has been some great Smite. Everything
Definitely
looked
been very
pretty
entertaining.
normal at the start here. Ward's already out for both sides, and this time it is YeetonDaNaeNae who comes over to the shield buff right away.
Starting with shit, and we got JunglePhobic trying to steal it away. ACookieNamedJoe is not there to kind of help secure. And we do see Rizzler is suffering for it, stuck with the cloud, not letting them get away with the teleport and just making sure to cover all bases. It does look like that the shield buff is dropped by who I can't exactly tell at the moment, but I think that, oh, yep, we do see that Nene picked it up. So it does go the way of Eclipse, and it shows that Nene was able to get some positive farm over there in the dual lane. Oh no, Wyvern's getting some dashes, decides to cloud inward, gets 2 of the Storm Kata off, but then just uses it on the wave. Very dangerous position. But dual lane, we're trading blows. JunglePhobic sees an early kill. CookieNamedJoe is body blocking for his teammate, and it manages to pull out just well with that shell. And they managed to avoid a first blood in the dual lane. And this is just getting crazy. Both teams are just not looking to give up that first blood, but they just want it so bad. You gotta be very careful in these early engagements.
Something I think we gotta take note of, something to watch is Wyvern on the Susano with that cloud on Merlin is gonna be so good because Rizzler has such good reactions that every time he's in trouble, immediately flickers out away, dodging it. But now you got that cloud on you, and unless you are flickering into tower and Wyvern is 1 HP, you're gonna have a lot of issues because there's nothing else to do once you've used that flicker and maybe stance change. So I think that's something to keep our eye on. I think Wyvern will probably take full advantage of that. 3 minutes in, no first blood yet. People getting a little close. Where do you predict first blood is gonna come from?
I think Wyvern is probably going to pull it off. I think maybe we're going to look in Soul Lane's going to be too aggressive, or maybe that this dual lane will be. But I think Wyvern might be able to pull it off, but I might be wrong. Ragemore is getting a bit too low. Geb trying to push out and open up a kill for CookieNamedJoe. JunglePhobic fighting hard. Ragemore just doesn't seem to really identify with how low he truly is. But I think he's kind of getting the idea. It does go to Soul Lane, but we see CasualOne pulling it out. Nicodrin was just got in a bad spot. That is first blood. JunglePhobic's dad's dash gets caught by Geb. And then YeetonDaNaeNae pulls out Ragemore as CookieNamedJoe does get JunglePhobic. I was partially right with where this action was going to turn. And that was a beautiful rotation from the mid lane to the duo.
Good morning. Somebody made a cup of coffee and said hello to Eclipse. That is exactly what they need to start this game with. 3 clean kills under 4 minutes. But YeetonDaNaeNae in a little bit of trouble. Nowhere to go. Oh,
it's in a wall!
He's Cleo. He has everywhere to go.
Away. Oh my god. That was hype.
Beautiful. Frame perfect to just dodge that Susano ult. Man, Eclipse coming out with some fire right now.
I'm just at a loss for words. You knew what he was going to try to do, and you're sitting there holding his breath, wondering if he was going to be able to get away with it. And just in time, Nene manages to get into that wall to dodge that Typhoon. Just what sucks the most is if Wyvern had dropped it just a little bit sooner, it would have knocked up Nene, and it would have been bad. But Ragemore is now caught low. The dash is dropped. Joe's just taking those shots. Can he get it? Ragemore is just, he manages just in time. Gets the cooldowns, and Joe cannot seem to hit that last auto. And like we love to say here, that last 50 health can always be the toughest to get away. Nicodrin going in, misses the Fearless, and now CasualOne is pulling the blue underneath tower. An ultimate drop does secure the blue buff for CasualOne. CookieNamedJoe does manage to find Ragemore at the back of his own tier 1. Eclipse is being absolutely ruthless, and this is the change I love to see. Beautiful rotations as opposed to last game where there weren't many. Beautiful aggression where it was a bit more reservedness in that last game. Maybe their mentals were just shattered. Maybe they're just too much on the defensive idea, and that whole game was needed to change the state of mind. But this is exactly beautiful, and I am excited to see what Kingslayers does against Eclipse in this game.
You could not have asked for a better start, and I'm so happy CookieNamedJoe finally got that kill. I was going to say that's the last piece of the puzzle they need. Chalk getting the first blood solo is so good because Nicodrin has been so far ahead the first 2 games. And then a huge double kill over in the left lane, allowing, most importantly, I think, Low for Life getting 3 assists on 4 of the kills, which is huge for him to get ahead. And then now, CookieNamedJoe has 2 kills, 2 levels up on Ragemore. That is a massive start, which he hasn't had these first 2 games. So Eclipse set themselves up really nice.
And the one thing is, it's not just on Nene. It's not just on Rizzler. Rizzler actually has no kills right now. So there's 4 kills up, but it spreads so beautifully across the team, and it gives them a 2K gold lead as well. It's just now they need to start abusing this, right? He needs to maybe get some, maybe help out Joe once or twice to keep him ahead, then start taking some farm, And Kingslayers are now on the back end, and they got to kind of find a way to really recuperate and just kind of regroup and not kind of let this take them, not fall to the tilt.
And already you can see changes coming out. Rizzler started now with the gem instead of Sands of Time, so already realizing these overcapped on cooldown in game number 2 and making a shift there, which is really nice. Still though, there's a tier on the field, and we're gonna need to see some anti-heal for that. Almost even harder to kill than a Hercules once you get them involved, but that's for later us problems to worry about. DLC under a lot of trouble here from Rizzler.
Trying to look for that through the wall. Banshee, release the Banshees, and now Naenae's gonna getting stuck. All the abilities were used to try to drop on him. Doesn't do enough. Wyvern's not looking like in a bad spot. Rollout stops just early enough so Wyvern doesn't get caught. Stuck in another knock-up and a stun. Fighting their way out, but Wyvern seems not really too bad off at half health and not really moving less. The Geb needs to find their way out towards the team to allow bonus damage or maybe team rotation, because Geb's just not doing enough damage to kind of confirm that Wyvern.
Yeah, I mean, I like the plays. I really want to see Low for Life be careful this game and not get too extended, too caught out early. Drop probably 3 or 4 times pretty early on in game number 2. Just from overextension, just being that frontline support, trying to take it to him. You can't really do that in Kingslayer's phases, and now we see another 1v1 over here in dual lane.
We see Ragemore dash in, looking low, and ACookieNamedJoe doesn't really have to worry too much. Drops the crystal, getting even more damage. Now, Nooblet, would you consider yourself a pretty decent ADC and or dual lane player, Hunter?
Depends on who you're comparing me to. I'd say
in general populace.
I would say decent is the perfect word.
Okay,
word.
So
I'm not going to be an ADC main anytime soon, but I can absolutely hold my own.
Can you tell me the argument Aussie versus Devos?
I like I like Aussie, and it's just about when you want that power spike. Like, you have good stats on Aussie, and someone like Rom, you get him a power spike earlier than Chernobog, who's still stacking this. You're gonna get the lifesteal when you get low, but we'll hold that thought, as Low for Life is gonna take some snipes and tower shots.
So many shield stacks allows him to get away. And I don't think JunglePhobic can really close the distance enough unless they have a blink. This Geb's just zooming.
Yeah.
And we do see that the shield buff was dropped by Naenae, allowing Joe to pick it up. And Joe's got some pretty beautiful pressure in this dual lane. I want to see them maybe get a nice gank onto Ragemore and then turn it into a Gold Fury. Eclipse has the first opportunity to actually get an early Gold Fury.
Yeah, and back to your point, I like the Aussie pickup because, like you said, Ragemore, he likes to fight, and he likes to fight early, and you get Aussie online, you can take a fight with someone still building Devos, and you can usually win that. Unfortunately, had a lot more support on the Eclipse side to put him down here, but now we look at these 1v1s, and that stim kicks in, he's going to be doing good. Look at this gank.
Knock-up after knock-up, but can he get away? Nope, there's another one that puts him down in the ground. Nicodrin finding the first kill onto Eclipse. Down goes TheCasualOne. Will this be the opening that Kingslayers need, or will Casual be able to kind of stick up as a pillar? Oh, we do see the Gold Fury picked up, and now it's Kingslayers who is stuck in the right lane as Eclipse is deciding to go for it.
Yeah,
but there's no one really zoning. JunglePhobic looking to try to steal, stun. All this damage, Gold Fury's dropped. Eclipse does get the early Gold Fury, and I don't want to see him take it and just walk away. I don't want to see them get too aggressive because that was exactly what they needed. So the first Gold Fury actually goes to Eclipse. If I didn't know any better, I would think that the teams traded. I would think Eclipse is Kingslayers and Kingslayers is Eclipse right now with the way these games are going. ACookieNamedJoe finds solace into the wall, manages to dodge the dash. Pillars are up. Cookie's just throwing autos. Jungle is so low. Up in the air goes Ragemore, looking for some snipes to dodge damage, but it isn't enough. He manages to dash away, looking for the safety of Wyvern. Can he get it? He's so low. Double dash from Joe. And Yeet does put down Ragemore for a nap. Wyvern now trying to get away, throws out the Typhoon. Yeet does pull out beads to dodge. Oh, what a beautiful little cloud dodge, and managed to get away, but here comes Rizzler to catch him. But Wyvern is just too sneaky, too fast, and has got that dash from the Storm Kata to really give him the distance he needs. Now DLC is stuck against 4 and gets completely squashed by Joe. And that was concerning. I don't know why Rizzler or DLC decided to cross the whole team to try to find solace and safety underneath the tier 1 and duo rather than just go back to mid. I think that was a bit risky to say the least. Eclipse picking up the first beacon 7-1 at 12 minutes in. Eclipse with the 7 and 35,000 gold to Kingslayers 32,000 gold. This is amazing. I said Eclipse needed to change, and that made me eat my words. They have just become more aggressive, more confident, and more dominant. This is how they should have opened up, but I'm so happy that they managed to do it before the end of game 3.
Yeah, and it feels like Eclipse might be a little upset about something here. They are playing out of their mind and so aggressive. They know it's all on the line right here. Everything you work towards, all the clips you made, all the giant plays throughout the season, it all comes down to this game right here. If you don't do it here, you're not going to have another chance. And what a great start. Almost 4K up in gold, a huge XP lead. YeetonDaNaeNae was playing some great macros there. He used his dash perfectly twice in that fight to negate the cripple from Rom, and then also the pull-in from Susano. So it was so good there, and I wish we'd seen this in game 1 and game 2, but maybe they just had to shake off the rust and shake off the stigma that is Kingslayers, the aura surrounding them, that they can bleed and they can be beaten. And now another gank and good pressure onto Ragemore, which we've been wanting to see.
Ragemore now getting caught a bit too far up. Nene trying to get some easy damage, looking for the safety of the air and for his teammate. Ragemore's up in the air, but he just can't seem to get away in time. Rizzler confirming Ragemore as Wyvern's forced away. Beautiful rotations. Kingslayer's looking to pick up a Pyromancer to try to even the score, which is fine and dandy, but it's beginning to get a bit too much.
Yeah, I don't even know who this team is right now. They're playing so good. Wyvern was going to back, but he decides to come back in and catches Rizzler, who's very low.
Big Aegis and Flicker to get Rizzler out of danger, and now Nico's trying to catch him. Here comes the ultimate. Does get the stun. The beads managed to get Rizzler out of danger, but now he's just trying to find the best possible opportunity. Getting stuck underneath an Agni Bomb is not that opportunity, and Dragonlordcat manages to erase out Rizzler and finally end that chase.
You know, I am always talking about when you get a lead, you need to keep your foot on the gas and push it. I'm going to actually contradict that right now and say Eclipse needs to slow this down because they're getting overextended. Kingslayers are finding opportunities to come back in. It all started with this really cheeky play that you could barely see on the top of the screen where Low for Life went all the way in between the towers to try and catch out Wyvern, and he had this sneaky little cloud juke to dodge the knockup. And then Low for Life went, and then kept going into the jungle. And then Wyvern came back into the fight, and Low for Life was very late to the fight because of the path he took. So they went too overextended. If you're going to extend, it's got to have a purpose. And that means several of you are chasing down a kill you can get. If not, back out. Gold Fury's up. There's objectives up. There's a T1 you could have taken. Slow it down and make smart choices to keep this lead, because the lead's already back within 1K.
I don't think they need to take their feet off the gas. I just think they need to put it in the right spots. I don't think you need those big dives. I don't think you need... Oh, what an up and a drop. Doesn't really go in. Just trying to fake him out. The Aegis will save him. Now, Nene's in a bad spot, but it looks like DLC was even in a worse one. Joe going to finish that up, but now stuck underneath tower, forced to use beads. Ragemore looking insanely low. JunglePhobic is now trying to save his teammate at this T2, but with now all of Eclipse alive, this beacon coming up soon, I would like to see Eclipse rotate to this beacon, or you know what, pick up this Gold Fury that just spawned. Don't let off the gas. Keep going with these objectives. And now they actually have somebody zoning. We see Nene's forcing Wyvern away so he can't get an easy Primal Fury steal. I'm loving this. Absolutely loving this. But here comes Ragemore. We know his ultimate down. Nobody sees him. We'll be able to get it. He not to. Rizzler blinking away from Wyvern. Big stun from Tyr. Up in the air is Rizzler bopping, but it's not enough to continue the chain as Casual manages to silence everybody away. Eclipse doing smart things, just trying to get out of this fight, not let too much happen afterwards. Big shield onto Rizzler, but he gets blinked and fearless. Rizzler's doing his best. Can he get away? A nice flicker manages to save him at the cost of his support's life, but it's not enough. Nico does manage to find that kill as Yeet is now stuck. A bomb cutting off his path, and there is not much he could do. Eclipse just got too split up there. They managed to get the Primal Fury, which is beautiful, but they just got split up, and Kingslayers did a beautiful job of keeping them in a fight they just didn't want to be in.
This game is snowballing, but it's snowballing in the wrong direction for Eclipse, and Eclipse did nothing wrong there. They played it well. I was just going to give them kudos because they look like a different team. Their rotations are exactly on point. They're answering back when Kingslayers go somewhere. They're putting the pressure on Ragemore, which they haven't done all set. He's 0-4 compared to the 4-0 from CookieNamedJoe. Playing so smart. And then they picked up the Gold Fury when they had a good chance to do it, and they zoned out all of the threats, and they got it. It was just the fight afterwards was just better for Kingslayers. They were just ready for it. They didn't commit anything to the Gold Fury, and it just happened to go Kingslayers' way, which happens sometimes. Sometimes the fight just goes the other team's way. And now they're snowballing. They got Stygian. They're about to get Pyro. Kingslayers are coming back into this thing. Gold is dead even now.
If there's only one thing you're going to nitpick, it just seemed that Low for Life and Rizzler just took a bad path. And that's all it was. They just took a path that kind of let the other team catch up to them, but it wasn't anything they could have known. It wasn't like that they could have known the people were there or that anyone really had anything. It was just a bad path that just got them caught. Too many walls, just getting surrounded. But that's not even something you could really critique on. It's just kind of something you can point out. Just be like, hey, that's kind of why it happened. It's not really anyone's fault. You could have known, but that's kind of the issue that we had.
Yeah, I mean, it really just came down to Nico played fantastic that fight.
Oh my,
just outplayed
big
Eclipse.
knockups and fearless, yeah.
Just the ults, the athleticism that comes out of Tier is such a versatile god. Using it so well, just keeping Eclipse there. And then I think the separation occurred because of Nicodrin, which played in favor. Now Nicodrin is up 2 levels, the highest in the game, tied with Chernobog, who's 4-0-4. So that's going to be the main issue for Eclipse right now is Tier coming into these fights, especially late. And then we saw TheCasualOne use the ultimate just to stop Nicodrin from keep going in. And then it didn't for long. They just kept going. And now TheCasualOne doesn't have a lot to offer for Peel. And it's just a really good play from the solo laner, and not a lot you can do about that.
With this Tier with the blink and the ultimate, that's really what it is the ability to pursue consistently and just like ruthlessly, because you think you get away from him and then he blinks,
Look at this,
and then you think you get away from him, then he ults, and it's just this is the biggest, most competitive game we've seen. And now we see CookieNamedJoe is top of the charts with damage.
Yeah.
And that's just huge. That's a big difference from last game. And we also see that he has 4 kills. Last game, he was 1 kill to like 4 or 5 deaths. Now he's got 4 kills and no deaths. So I'm very impressed. Because I remember last season I picked him up for my team, and I kind of put him on the trail of ADC because we needed someone to help us out. And unfortunately didn't stay with it, but I'm happy to see that he stayed with ADC. He didn't stay with my team, but I'm happy to see he stayed with ADC, and he's doing amazing things. And I'm just so proud to kind of be able to see him really come out and compete in this role that was essentially an off role for him. And he's just doing amazing with it. And I'm just excited to see how Eclipse can kind of turn this around. And I'm excited to see if Kingslayers can really collect themselves and just end it, finish it out undefeated.
Yep, and we see all 10 members posturing around the Gold Fury pit. It is an Oni Fury, which is going to be important. This is a big first objective for them to fight over right now. I mean, it's the 3rd objective, but it's a big one because the game is so even right now. 500 gold difference, barely any difference in XP. Oni Wave can change the momentum of this for whoever gets it. And then I kind of want to take a look over at Rizzler's build path here. We've been talking about it a lot, and credit to him, he's an outstanding player, so however he wants to build, he can. But it looks like he's going into Book of Thoth, 4th item, which is precarious. I mean, I guess it could be a poly, but that's the only other option. So you're building a Book of Thoth late. You can stack it, but that's assuming that this game goes to 30 minutes plus. Building power pretty late here, so that's going to be interesting to keep our eye on. He is top of the player damage charts, so he's going to be doing just fine. Won't be maxed out on cooldown this time unless he builds into Chronos last item. So keep your eye on that. Oni Fury started up and it's a quarter health, dodging that Rama ult.
Dropped and allowed for Kingslayers to use a whole bunch of ultimates just to try to steal something that wasn't even taking damage. And now they're in a bad spot, but it looks like Low for Life is now kind of stuck. Big stuns, but a big Lawbringer stuns him out. 2 kills. Nakodrin gets on Loyal for Life, and then Wyvern picks up Nene. And now Eclipse is forced to run away. Casual trying to make sure Riz gets away, and Nico just absolutely pursuing Joe. And if I'm Kingslayers, I turn back to that Oni Fury, and I just try to get that. I try to pick it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not looking good for Eclipse. They got split up a bit too much. They were able to drop it perfectly and make Kingslayers expel ultimates, but they weren't able to capitalize on it. That's just unfortunate.
I would like to see Rizzler and Cookie go Pyro here instead of contesting. They can burn it. They'd at least get some sort of trade. Very low over here, though, on Kingslayers. And Nikodrin, full health, just chasing Cookie out. So the contest there, I get it. You want to stop that Oni being taken, but get something for it. Go to the other side of the map. You're not going to get past the tier. But hey, now momentum in the way of Kingslayers, who are picking up a Pyromancer on top of it. 2k gold lead for them. It's old Kingslayers, early set Kingslayers are back in this one. I don't know where they were the first 10 minutes of this game, but they're definitely back.
You know what's a bit concerning right now for me? I'm looking again at the builds of Eclipse, and can you see what's missing?
I don't even have to look. I can tell you there's no anti-heal. I know, and right now, you know, early game, mid game, it's not super important. I play the same way. You know, even if I'm laning against an Aphrodite or something, I don't prioritize Divine Rune, even though a lot of people do, just because the heal's not going to be too strong yet. But once you start getting mid game and definitely late game, a heal's going to change an entire fight. So you got to get it at some point. So now we do see the Book of Thoth come online, so he's going to have to stack that up for a little while. Has the damage to do it quickly, assuming doesn't get pressured out. And Titans have been released, and they're walking up left lane. And this is the point when Kingslayers really started pushing the issue and got a Phoenix off the first Titan push last game.
Eclipse needs to take advantage of the fact that they still have a T1 there and just take care of it. Or maybe pull out a cheeky Fire Giant. I love this call. It's aggressive, it's sneaky, and they could really afford to do it. Look at that health drop. It kind of forces everyone from Kingslayers away from the Titans. Fire Giant's low. Who gets it? Who picks it up?
Kingslayers!
Kingslayers managed to steal it as Eclipse, again, does not really push him away. There's no real zoning off of it. They allow Kingslayers to get in there. Rizzler's now just being pushed against a wall. Saved a little bit, but not in time. Nico does manage to pick it up. Now YeetonDaNaeNae does fall down to Wyvern. Low for Life picked up by Wyvern in a double kill. That could not have gone worse for Eclipse, because now they have a Titan pushing down their left lane. It might not be able to make it to the Phoenix, or past the Phoenix, but that T2 is falling. That never mind, excuse me. It's over half health. That Phoenix is not looking too good. And everyone besides Nico on Eclipse is alive. But here comes the cavalry. We do see Casual pushing out Rage more. But JunglePhobic is here to help us. The double bombs. 1-2. That Phoenix is gone. That opens up so much. Wyvern pulls out Yeet. Casual's now low.
What is happening?
And this will be a deicide if he finds it. It might be a quick game 3. This is such an unfortunate story for Eclipse, who fought so hard.
The Titan turned
luckily,
to the Phoenix.
The Titan turned to the Phoenix.
What?
Oh my god. Have you ever seen that happen?
I've never seen that happen, and there's still a tier 2 up, so they can't even get it.
It was the minions. It was the minions.
Oh,
it got pulled to the minions. Oh my god. Oh
Lucky
my god.
break for Eclipse there. That was just a runaway train that they were panicking to stop, and they lucked out with the Titan turning there. Because you know Kingslayers were going in if that Titan went in, and wow, I need to go back and see what took that Fire Giant, because there are very, very few better confirms in this game than a Cleo ult. It's on demand, instant burst. It had to be something small. It had to be a tier swipe or something. We'll go back and check it out, maybe throw it up in a short later on YouTube. But that's tragic. They get it. They win the fight after, and the whole time Rom's pushing down with the Titan, and they get a Phoenix, and the best Phoenix. And now 27 minutes in, Kingslayers looking like some champions, and Eclipse once again have to dig into their pockets to figure out how to bring this back. And they've had better comebacks in the beginning of this set to make it look like they're really going to win the game, despite how daunting the task is. So it's up to Eclipse now what they can pull out here in game 3 of a best of 5.
Kingslayers have shown why they're undefeated, because it was such a tough early game that they were trying to get through. I think it was 7-1 at one point. But I know teams who would just sit there and throw the controller, smash the keyboard, walk away, get mute, stop talking, and they just get annoyed, right? And it's amazing to watch a team just take it on the chin and then walk away and then come back stronger, because that's exactly what they did. And it's just insanely impressive, because lesser teams or oh no, Casual's now stuck back in the lane. I don't think that was really what you wanted to do. Oh, that's just unfortunate. With those big crits too, we don't see a Spectral either. So add that on to the issues of builds. Is that Rama crit for insane?
Yeah, I don't even know if a Spectral saves Chalk there. I think you just die either way. Crazy part is Kingslayers used 2 bombs on that last Phoenix like 3 minutes ago, and they have another 2 bombs.
Have 2 bombs.
They have 2 bombs, man.
They've just been allowed to get those
make some
Pyroman
space here. They have all their ults other than Dharmic Pillars. They're going to make space, and I assume they're going to take this Phoenix, and then that puts Kingslayers in such a good spot to take this finals, all up to what Eclipse does here.
And we see Kingslayers pushing down. Naenae's causing trouble. Dragonlordcat is now kind of stuck a little bit. Now really forced to consider the health that they're at. It's still pretty high, but it's something you can't really scoff at. It.
Are up.
Pull it again. And now we're just looking to engage, but the idea is to try to keep Eclipse out of that left lane to allow your fire minions to do what they want to do. And I thought I saw a Divine Ruin, but it is on the side of Kingslayers.
Yeah.
So Eclipse haven't really picked it up. Here comes the Dharmic Pillars. We do see Geb getting pushed against the wall on the team. Blink chalks back up, gets a big silence, but Wyvern's in the middle of the fight, looking low, knocks everyone up, manages to get out, and despite taking some damage and some ultimates, we do see that right Phoenix is still alive. So it's pretty impressive, especially since they were down 1. I think Kingslayers took a little too long to initiate and allowed Chalk to get up and just kind of disrupt them. That silence and knockups is a pretty huge deal. And now we do see that left Phoenix is up again. Yeah. So if they just clear out 2 ways of fire minions, they can kind of not have to worry too much for this next fire giant, which is going to be intense.
DFG, yeah. So this is a very important one, and you don't want to give that to Kingslayers with the momentum they have right now. But I want to say that was beautiful patience and counter engage from TheCasualOne. You could tell the whole time Kingslayers are waiting for Dharmic Pillars to come up, cause that space, let Nico and Wyvern go in and give Ragemore just free reign on that Phoenix. But immediately TheCasualOne waited for it, blinked in there, ulted, stopped all the aggression from the backliners, and so they just couldn't get into the Phoenix. Despite using 2 bombs and a couple autos, the Phoenix survived. So just really good defense from Eclipse time and time again. Very smart plays to not just panic, ult things, to not just go on the frontliners that rush in. They really had a plan and executed it properly, and now all Phoenixes are up. They're safe for the time being, but they're all backing, or at least several are, and EFG is being started by Kingslayers.
And you want actually what's really relieving for Eclipse? Do you see any bombs in Kingslayer's pockets right now?
Nope. Keep your eyes on YeetonDaNaeNae here. Going in the wall and getting that double ultimate on Fire Giant is an easy way to steal, but it's already a quarter health, and they're going to take the fight. He's fearless.
It's going to be dropped. We do see Nico just causing problems. Big stuns. Ragemore's looking not too good. Dragonlordcat's looking pretty worse for wear. Geb's trying to get out, but it's not enough. Caught between 5. We need a bit more damage to try to get him out of there. Really just squeaking away. Can he get this rollout? Nico does manage to clean it up. And now Wyvern's in the back, but that's 4 people looking right at him. He does manage to kind of move out of the way, and ACookieNamedJoe was just brought to a poor demise. Stormkata not finding anything but a Aegis. Nico back in the middle of the fight, looking for a nice Fearless, and all the way, everyone on Eclipse is forced to back away. Rizzler throwing out some abilities, trying to get any damage, trying to push everyone away, and that's exactly what this whole team of Eclipse is doing, is just trying to make everyone too hurt to really do anything. Yeet's low, but here comes Dark Pillars to just kind of dissuade anybody from chasing. And despite not getting a Phoenix out of that, Kingslayers kind of gets room to maybe do a Fire Giant here, as I think they've scared Eclipse pretty efficiently. 32 minutes in, 16 kills for Kingslayers, 85,000 gold. 11 kills for Eclipse and 74,000 gold. Eclipse struggling to take back that lead that they had and essentially lost. Kingslayers just playing absolute solid Smite this whole game.
That was such a scary moment for Eclipse there. What a beautiful engage on Kingslayers. They dropped the fire at the perfect time so it couldn't be stolen. Huge fight. Went straight to the siege, and another great defense from Eclipse. They were so good at defending these objectives. They didn't even have a cookie named Joe there, and they still defended it. But now EFG started up one more time. I don't think Yeet's going to get there in time.
No, he's not going to get there in time. I would have loved to see. Eclipse needed more urgency to be there, because now that burden right is just not going to survive this next assault, especially if they manage to pick up the bomb here. And it's just looking like Eclipse is falling back to their old habits, being a bit too defensive, not really doing anything with the space they create for themselves. And it's just so sad to see, because you thought they changed in that early game, and now they're just kind of suffering from their old mistakes.
Yeah, but they're going to get tested here once more. You know, they got Kingslayers got Pyro, they got Stygian, they're going to get Primal, and then they're going to push down these Phoenixes. And with EFG in their pocket and those backdoor protections being stripped, I can't imagine that they don't get at least one bird, if not all of them. You know, Eclipse has great defense, but their birds have been ending up under half health with, I mean, they were using bombs, but now bombs combined with EFG protection shred is, all it's going to take is 3 autos from Ragemore, and they can make the space for that. So this is going to be a really big task for Eclipse, and it's going to test their defensive skills right here, right now. Wyvern is going to the other lane to try and pull somebody away from the left side defense, but this is the moment. If you stop them here, you're still in a good spot. You don't stop them here, I don't know how you stop them later.
It's going to be a big issue, because despite getting an early T1 in the left, they still have T1s in mid and right. So even a Deicide here doesn't give Eclipse too much of a lead. They might be able to take out a couple T1s, but by the time T2 start becoming a target, I think Kingslayers are going to start spawning back, and it's not going to be an easy fight. They got to really find Kingslayers being too aggressive like we know they have, but Nicodrin has just been a complete dominant force, just so much CC. Big stun, DLC's low, manages to dash away, getting cleansed. Nico's in the back right now trying to find a target, but everyone manages to dodge out of the way, using the ultimate rather to engage but to escape, and gives Nico the space. But Wyvern is just taking out that right Phoenix, actually used the bomb they got, and that was beautiful, just pulling them all away. Nico pulling out the back, creating problems. Ragemore getting a double kill on Joe and Low for Life. Nene manages to pull Dragonlordcat out of it, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Ragemore does find the triple kill. He's looking for a quadra. Can he find the hits on Rizzler? Nico finishes off Rizzler, though, while the minions do finish off Ragemore. Now all that's left is TheCasualOne against 3 who have EFG. And with minions piling in, I don't know what more you can do. You're just looking to stall to try to get your teammates back, but the only teammate that's closest is your Geb, and I don't know if it can do the damage you're looking for. But you have only Wyvern to really do the damage. Deco's not really one for it. Titan's fighting for its life. Here comes Chalk with the silence. 3 ultimates were used, and this Titan is fighting for its life. Casual falls, and here are the minions. It's over. Game 3 goes to Kingslayers, who managed to win Season 3 for Divine.
Wow.
Bravo to Kingslayers. Solid gameplay throughout all 3 games. And when they were finally pushed to the breaking point, they decided to bend, not to break, and they managed to pull it out. And it was just an amazing game to watch. They did not let the pressure crack them. They just showed that they were going to fight right back. Good job for Eclipse giving themselves a really solid fight, a really solid challenge. Did not make it easy for Kingslayers, who actually ended up going completely and utterly undefeated. Congratulations for Kingslayers on your win.
Yeah, it's literally summed up in those two words. Perfect season. I have never seen it. We've seen it now. Kingslayers had a flawless, perfect season. No one took them down, not one time, and they looked so good. It looked like maybe Eclipse could do it. They played so good. It was a battle of the two best junglers in the entire division. YeetonDaNaeNae versus Wyvern, and they held their own, but man, what a showing in Season 3 from Kingslayers. Well deserved of the championship title.
I gotta say, they came out and they played solid Smite all around. And when they were finally being exploited, put to the test, and really kind of learned, they just showed that they're going to learn back. They're going to push their own thing, and they're just going to be able to really just take it. They played amazing.
Yeah, I think the gameplay spoke for itself. Valiant effort from all of Eclipse, and what a hell of a season they had as well. But man, you can't deny the crown to the Kingslayers after what we've seen time and time again. They're the champions. It's undeniable. No one can take them down. Maybe in Season 4, things will change.
Hopefully. But that's one of the beautiful things about having a draft league is you're not always going to get the same thing twice in each season. So I'm looking forward to Season 4. I don't know about you, Lou.
Oh, yeah.
And all right, I think that'll be about it here. Thank you for joining us for finals. I gotta say, it's been a solid one to watch. I've been Gearchief, and with me has been Nooblet, and on production, also Nooblet. Man's been pulling big stops. I gotta say, it's amazing, man. The Iron Man in this stuff. So
I just want to say a big thank you to the 10 players and everybody in the Divine Division for giving us a hell of a season. What awesome Smite to watch. It's been our pleasure to watch that, and what a great finale to be able to witness. A big congratulations to the Kingslayers. There's nothing else can be said about that.
I think that's the best way to put it. And there's nothing to be disappointed in, really. It seemed like both teams played out their heart and left it all out on the battlefield. So, thank you all for joining us. We hope you stick around for Season 4. And I gotta say, I'm excited for Season 4. Each season has been kind of ramping up and up and up, and we're so excited for you to participate and play. Join our Discord, sign up, make some friends, and win some championships. Thank you for all joining us, and we'll see you next season.